Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Right off the bat, you want to laugh. I know you do. But think back to the 80s when everybody was into Michael Jackson. Sure, now he's a subject of joke and ridicule, but you gotta remember, I think Dave Chappelle said it best, he made Thriller. Thriller.
Back then, there weren't too many video games where you can play as a celebrity, so that's why it was a big deal. It was based off the arcade game of the same name, which was based off the movie of the same name. It was one of the first games that attracted us to the new Sega Mega Drive, known as the Genesis in North America. NES players like myself looked on with envy when this sexy beast hit the scene. It was black, it was round, and it said 16-bit right on the front, like in your face, bitch! Moonwalker was one of the first Genesis games I ever played. At the time, I thought it was awesome, but other than the novelty of it being Michael Jackson, there wasn't really anything too special about it.
The only question is, are you bad? Are you bad? Let's find out. Who's bad? As it begins, Michael flips a coin in the jukebox and Smooth Criminal starts up. So all you do is go around, kick fairy dust at people, and rescue kids. Yeah, you can't advance to the next level until you get all the kids. Now, I know what we're all thinking here, but really, that's all it is. You're just rescuing the kids.
Michael!
But who are these kidnappers, and why are there so many kids? Why do they all look the same? And why do you have to open doors, look in windows, and spin bushes open to find them? Couldn't there be a better way? That's the main problem I have with this game, is how redundant it is. You can't skip any doors, because if you go through the whole stage and miss just one kid, you have to go back. And of course, you're not going to remember which door you didn't open, so you got to open them all again. You have no choice but to stop and check every single door, every single window, and leave no stone unturned, quite literally. Most of the later stages don't even follow a linear pattern. They don't go from left to right or top to bottom. They're all over the place, so you're always going to be confused which spots you already checked. There's one stage where you're checking cars, but often there's a bomb in the car that you can't avoid. You don't even need to get hit by the explosion. The bomb itself hurts you. Even if you check the same car twice, there's another bomb. You have no choice but to check every car, so the only way to avoid the bombs is if you played the game so many times that you can actually remember which cars have kids and which ones have bombs. I'm also not very fond of the kick, because if your enemies are shorter than you, it doesn't help. Like these spiders, or even these dogs. They're such a bitch. Literally. A lot of animal abuse in these games. There's a variety of special moves which are kind of cool. Michael can spin, throw his hat, grab his crotch. Why? Why would they put that in a game? How could they put that in a game? It just seems by tapping buttons, you figure out all kinds of different moves that don't have any purpose. Like if you push up, what does that do? And if you hold the attack button and D-pad in the correct way, then you can actually moonwalk. But again, it has no purpose, and it usually results in taking a hit. The special moves drain your energy, and I mean a lot of it. You can make everybody dance, which takes out everyone on the screen, but what's the point of doing that if it drains half your energy? Still, it's worth it just for the amusement factor, and even the dogs dance. There's also an invincibility move, but let me tell you how this works. Every once in a while, a shooting star comes by. It's rare, but if you manage to act fast enough to touch it, this happens. Oh man, he just changed from Michael Jackson to Mecha Jackson, the king of Robopop. It's enough that you're invincible for a brief moment, but you can fly, you can shoot lasers, and you can scatter bombs all over. This is one of the most awesome things I've ever seen. Only problem, you can't rescue kids. I guess they don't respond too well to giant laser shooting robots. The navigation is a pain in the ass. In the cavern, you have to figure out that you can break the walls. If you didn't know that, you're kind of screwed. Every stage seems to have its own rules, but it's never self-explanatory. It took me a while to figure out that I needed to go down these sewers. At first, I thought they were just part of the scenery, because when you push down, nothing happens. You have to know to do the spin. Each stage, after you find all the kids, you have to fight a boss. But rather than the boss just simply appearing, Bubbles comes in and tells you where to go. So naturally, you just follow where he's pointing. But sometimes he points straight up or straight down. And you can't go that way, so you're never sure exactly where you're supposed to go. Finally, when you get to the spot, the boss appears, runs away, and then a bunch of bad guys come out you gotta fight. It's just like a little endurance round. But why can't this happen right after you find the last kid? Why does Bubbles have to lead you around? While this is happening, there's no enemies to fight. There's nothing. You're just walking to the boss. There's no purpose at all. It's like in Simon's Quest when you're walking through Dracula's castle and there's no enemies or obstacles. You just walk down steps and keep on going till you get there. It's a waste of gameplay. What's the point? Also, it's very specific where you have to stand. Like here, the boss didn't come out just because I was on this platform. I have to be on the ground. Also, this boss guy that keeps running away, even though you don't fight him, you can still take damage if you touch him. Here, I'm just walking around, looking for the boss. Oh, here he is. I didn't expect that. Hey, I can't jump over him. What, I'm stuck? What is this shit? This is bullshit. God, jeez! And when you die during the boss part, you don't start right where you left off. You have to start with Bubbles again. What's the point of having to walk all the way to the boss again? Where's the thriller music? Instead, it's another part of me from the Bad album. Why would they go through the trouble of including a graveyard scene in a Michael Jackson game and not use Thriller? I guess if you do the dance move, you'll hear it. No? That's the Thriller dance, but where's the music? Only if I do the dance in stage 3-3, I get a different song, Billie Jean. Apparently, some copies of the game have Thriller and others don't. That makes no sense. At this point is where the game starts to get really hard. Look at all these zombies. You think there's enough? And that's really fair considering I can only attack one side at a time. The dance doesn't help because even if you wipe out every zombie on the screen, there's still like 10 times more on the way. So draining half your energy isn't worth it. Holy shit, there's so many zombies. So many zombies. Oh my god, there's... Like, stop! Oh, holy god, there's so many. Oh my god!
The 90s was arguably one of the best times for video games. You had so many new consoles coming out, and with junk food being popular and already advertising to kids, they decided to jump on the bandwagon and start making their own video games. Most food companies just stuck to TV commercials, Got Milk, Fruit Stripe Gum, Lunchables, and of course Mentos, the fresh maker. Those companies didn't have to make video games, but guess who did? Cheetos, McDonald's, and Domino's Pizza, who created Yo-Noid. What's the deal with the Noid? What kind of drugged-up fever dream spawned this mutilated mascot monstrosity? It's a creepy guy wearing a red rabbit suit. And why does he ruin pizzas? What were they thinking? Most junk food games were just a bunch of business bullshit from the wasted imaginations from all the corporate fat cats. So, get out your pooper scooper and let's dig out this piss litter of a game. Whoa! What the fuck? You scared the shit out of me. Not this shit, actual shit. Listen, I gotta play this game. You gotta get out of here. Ah! Huh, what? Drink? How do you play drink? What kind of title is that? The back is in Japanese. And the side has the title in Japanese, and then the other side has it in English. Pepsiman. Pepsiman? Pepsiman? Okay, so Pepsiman is this weird T-1000 looking Japanese Pepsi mascot who helps people by magically turning things into Pepsi. In all his TV commercials, he's a bumbling idiot who stumbles around, smashes into windows, and transforms into a cactus? Even though he was only marketed in Japan, all his commercials take place in the USA. He even starred in his own video game, and was also featured as an unlockable character in the Japanese version of Fighting Vipers for the Sega Saturn. To unlock him, all you gotta do is lose the first fight. Never seen that before. You lose to unlock a character? Well, thanks, Pepsi Man. That's very interesting, but I have other junk food games I could play, like Cool Spot. Oh, come on. Oh, well, I could always play Chester Cheetah. Oh, well, how about, Big Bumpin'? Oh, man. How about, Kool-Aid Man? God damn it, you silly fuck. I don't want to play Pepsi Man. Okay, jeez. I'll play Pepsi Man. Well, in the chance that you were looking forward to Cool Spot or Yo Noid, can't play them because they're all Pepsi Man now. Everything I want to play is Pepsi Man. Yeah, well, I guess let's pop this corporate cock fuck in. The intro starts with this live-action cutscene of a guy buying a Pepsi. As he drinks it, you hear the shrill shriek of Pepsi Man set to surf music. And then he stares into the can. Okay, so is Pepsi Man in the can now? I don't even get it. I mean, this is fucking stupid. I'm not playing it. Okay, I'll play it. Next, we see Pepsi Man running down a street to nowhere as he crashes face first into the game's logo. What the hell's wrong with this mascot? Chester Cheetah was cool. Cool Spot had cool in his name. But Pepsi Man, he's not cool at all. He doesn't make me want to drink a Pepsi. Makes me want to drink a fucking beer. What? I said it makes me want to drink a fucking beer. Oh, come on. All right. Wow, that's a lot of Pepsi. I bet his bowel movements are like tar and colon foam.
Hey, let's start the game!
So the first level starts off with Pepsi Man meeting a truck driver with a flat tire.
There are a bunch of people gathered in front of the vending machine. They want Pepsi! And the word is that they're just about to riot.
Really? They'll riot? Why is Pepsi such a big deal here? Is that one vending machine the only place to get a Pepsi in this town? I mean, there's Pepsi everywhere. It's laying all over the streets. You can get one anywhere. So Pepsi Man runs around collecting Pepsi while dodging cars, pedestrians, pogo jackhammer fucks, chuds, and this garbage man who's being an asshole. Look, they wait for him at the intersection and then start launching garbage out the truck. Dicks. Pepsi Man doesn't give any shits either. He'll run right through your house. Hell, he'll even run right into you and send you flying through your kitchen wall. That guy's probably dead. This part reminds me of the chase scene in Raising Arizona, but instead of Nicolas Cage, it's Pepsi Man, and instead of Huggies, it's Pepsi's. Here, you crash through a shed and end up with a trash can on your head, which makes your controls opposite. Yeah. Finally, I get to the end of the level and he buys a Pepsi from a vending machine. Why don't the people go to this one at the Kid and Kid store instead of riding like a bunch of Pepsi-crazed freaks? And why does Pepsi Man buy a Pepsi when he just collected 94 Pepsis? And why can't I go one goddamn sentence without saying Pepsi? That's enough for me. This game's too monotonous. Oh, dude, your breath. It smells like tooth decay. Here, have some Mentos. Wow. That worked. Thanks to Mentos.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Well, fuck it. I'll just keep going. So in level 2, there's this radical skateboard part. It sucks. The controls feel stiff and one hit kills you. I guess it makes sense. If you were riding a skateboard down the hills and crashed into a trolley, you'd be dead. Now a moving company's trying to kill Pepsi Man too? They're just driving with the truck wide open, launching furniture at them. That's someone's furniture! Imagine if you hire a moving company to load up all your furniture and you get to the new house and then it arrives, the van is empty and you're like, hey, where the hell's all my furniture? And they say, oh yeah, we saw Pepsi Man on the way over and we had to just chuck it all at him. Yeah, that'll be $500. So finally, you make it to the rioters who are going apeshit by this Pepsi machine. This one's at a different Kid and Kid store, and this one lady's biting her shirt or something, and this guy's jacking off. Pepsi Man gives them Pepsi, and all is well. That is, until the Pepsi truck smashes into you, sending you into a Pepsi billboard with a giant Pepsi can that rolls after you, Indiana Jones style. Now I'm being chased. Yeah, this time I'm running towards the camera instead of away. Way to shake up the gameplay there. I hate this. I wish I had something wittier to say, but there's really nothing. I mean, this game is just mindless brain waste. It's an advertisement that's meant to push processed poison pissed out of Pepsi Man's pee hole.
Speak of the devil, you're back. What's that you got there? That's not Pepsi. That's a Rolling Rock. An actual Rolling Rock. You know what? Pepsi Man's actually pretty cool. Cheers, buddy. This isn't Rolling Rock. It's not even beer. This is Crystal Pepsi. And it's old. Like, what is this, from the 90s? It's all flat. You know what? Fuck you. You're shit and your game is shit. Pepsi Man! Have a Pepsi.
No thanks.
Next stage.
So the next part, you gotta get to the top of a burning building. The firefighter can't get first aid to them in time, so of course, you bring them Pepsi. Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll help all the people trapped on the roof of a burning fucking building. Yeah, treat their burns with some Pepsi. Thanks to Pepsi Man. This level is horrifying. It's like society's final days, brought to you by Pepsi. This guy here smashes his car into a brick wall and explodes, but Pepsi Man just runs by. That guy's probably dead, but I gotta get those people Pepsi! So after traversing this urban hellscape, you get to this truck that keeps launching barrels. Yeah, I guess Donkey Kong's in there, and he hates Pepsi Man as much as I do. After that, you get to the most unsafe construction zone ever. Girders are falling apart, sections of the bridge are missing, these guys are just swinging metal beams, and the bulldozers are just spinning around. What's happening here? Pepsi Man stops to buy yet another Pepsi and falls into one of my most hated video game cliches ever. The sewer level. This is where the shit graphics really shine. It's so dark that you can't see where you're going. There's pitfalls everywhere, and the only reason I know they're there is because I fell into them 50 times. I feel like it'd be easier in real life to run through a sewer and collect Pepsi. Right here, I swear, you have no choice but to get hurt by this wall. There's no way to pass it, and even when you do, there's a narrow path you need to hit, or else you're starting over. Another part that's bullshit is the subway section. I don't know what to do. There's a train coming right at you with no time to avoid. I tried dodging it, but I get killed every time. Then, after restarting the level like 12 times, I accidentally found the dash function. Yeah, hitting up and square lets Pepsi Man dash. How was I supposed to know that? On the control screen, it only shows slide and jump. Maybe it says it in the book, but it's all Japanese. At the rate I'm going, I'll probably learn Japanese before I finish this game. Who's calling? Oh, come on, nobody's calling you! Hello?
Hello, is Pepsi Man there?
Oh, I guess it is for you.
No, don't give him the phone. You need to listen to me very carefully. You need to get out of there. Pepsi Man is evil. He wants nothing more.
Oh, come on. Don't you know how hard it is to find a good phone like this? So finally, I reach the burning building and give the poor stranded people some Pepsi. Then I get chased by the truck from the Enter Sandman music video. It's basically the same as the giant Pepsi can from the first level, just a bit harder. Eventually, Pepsi Man turns down the road as the truck smashes through a building. It seems like no one in this world has value for human life. Just motherfucking Pepsi. Look at that. The truck smashes into something, and Pepsi Man pays no mind and just keeps on running like Forrest Gump.
Pepsi for TV game.
Not video game? TV game? I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, from now on, I'm the angry TV game nerd. Here we go, on to the next disaster that requires Pepsi. This time it's a motherfucking plane crash. Jeez, there's lots of tragedy in this game. Thankfully, all the people are okay, but they need their Pepsi, goddammit. So, you guessed it, more running. It's the same thing over and over. This time you're going down a highway with traffic coming on both sides, which begs the question, why doesn't Pepsi Man just run on the side of the road? There's trucks, motorcycles, buffalo, and a bunch of rocks rolling, but no rolling rocks. You get to the end and Pepsi Man, once again, buys a Pepsi at a vending machine. You know, Pepsi Man is a rather sad tale. Pepsi Man can make Pepsi for everybody except himself. This next stage is a nightmare. After beating the desert, you run through the mine where you can't see shit. How is anyone supposed to play this? There's pits everywhere, but good luck seeing them. It doesn't help that if you get a game over, you have to run through the desert part again. You're gonna be here for a bit. Each time I'd get a little further and then die at whatever came next. This part is like really having to piss and knowing the next rest stop isn't for 200 miles. So about an hour later, when I happen to do less shitty enough, I finally deliver those poor plane crash victims their Pepsi. And of course, another chase level. This time I want you to guess who chases Pepsi Man, because it makes no sense. Is it Buffalo? Nope, nice try. Motorcycles? Keep guessing. Rolling rocks? No again. This time you get chased by a giant tumbling mass of logs.
Pepsi for pizza.
Pepsi for pizza? Yeah, actually a pizza would be pretty good right about. Oh, thanks. I hate you. Okay, so thankfully we're on to the final level, Pepsi City, a dystopian urban sprawl that should pose as a warning of rampant consumerism. It's a place that's completely comprised of advertisements. Imagine if Roddy Piper wore the sunglasses from They Live Here. His head would explode. Honestly, seeing all these Pepsi logos and playing this game is doing the exact opposite of making me want a Pepsi. It makes me want not a Pepsi. So this time the computer at the Pepsi factory has gone haywire, and without Pepsi Man's help, there'll be a world shortage of Pepsi. So Pepsi Man must run! You're gonna die here a fuck ton of times. This is a culmination of all the frustrating bullshit, and then some. This has to be the most unhealthy city in the world. It's no wonder people are keeled over on the side of the street. How about drink some water? That might help. One thing I don't understand is why every sign in this game falls off when Pepsi Man gets near it. Are the signs sentient creatures bent on inconveniencing Pepsi Man? Everything is so precise for such a piece of shit game. It took me the same amount of time to beat the stage than every other stage combined. I game overed 13 times. Each continue, you get 4 lives. Plus, I died 3 more times before I finally passed it. Maybe I just suck, maybe the game sucks, maybe we both suck, but either way, that's too much suckage going around. This last section, you can't hit anything or you're dead, and you only have a few seconds to do it. But finally, I've made it to the computer core, and the world can have their precious Pepsis. Onward to the last chase level. This time, it's another giant Pepsi can that falls off 2 columns. Seriously, Pepsi City, and the rest of the world for that matter, needs to find a decent structural engineer. Everything's falling apart. This time, the can just falls for no reason. What if a regular person happened to walk under this thing? There'd be lawsuits out the ass. This last level is like the log one, except it's a Pepsi can that gives birth to baby Pepsi cans that try to trip you. When you beat it, the TV game guy flips his shit, the credits roll, and then he has to piss because of the ungodly amount of Pepsi he's consumed.
Excuse me.
Beating it unlocks Classic Pepsi Man and Free Play mode if you want to play through and collect all the Pepsis. I say, however, fuck that, good riddance, the end. Well, that's Pepsi Man. I'm not going to play it again as Classic Pepsi Man or unlock other bullshit or whatever, so I'm done. Get the hell out of here.
How about that? It's been 15 years since our very first Halloween special, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And in all those years since, one of the more interesting things that have come along to celebrate those shitty games were the NECA figures. They're action figures, but not from the movies, the NES versions.
Look at that. Jason's purple, just like in the game, which further begs the question. Why was he purple to begin with? What were they thinking? Might as well have Grimace in a hockey mask. They even have the infamous death screen on there. You and your friends are dead. Game over. And Freddy, as you can see, is in the same obnoxious neon orange. Very scary. And it has the classic Freddy trademark, is dead.
Well, anyway, we have some games to look at. Did you know there existed a Freddy and Jason game on the Commodore 64? Yeah, if you thought the NES versions were bad, wait till you see these. But first, I want to show you some other horror games on the Commodore 64, like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I can't believe a game like this existed. Let's see if I can get it to load.
I've waited all these years, locked in this hellhole with your stupid ass. That nerd, he had forgotten about our shitty games. And being forgotten is a bitch. But now, when he remembers the fear, that will give us power. That's our ticket back to the real world. And we'll make that nerd pay for what he's done to us.
Well, Psycho is pretty disappointing.
Not because it's one of those keyboard command search-based games, which I suck at, but because it has very little to do with the movie. You're a detective in a stereotypical Sherlock Holmes outfit, I presume, searching the Bates Motel for stolen jewels. In the attic, you do encounter Norman and his dead mother, but that's about the extent of it. How about Ghostbusters? Remember how much the NES version sucked? Driving around, running out of gas, collecting money to buy equipment when it should have just been about zapping ghosts? Well, the Commodore 64 version takes it a step further. As soon as you start the game, you're assaulted with this boring wall of text. You have to buy the car? Shouldn't you just start with the Ecto-1? Which one is it? I'm no car expert, so I picked the first one, and I end up with Herbie the Love Bug. Well, fuck this shit. So I tried a game called Slimer. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Food's flying everywhere! Eat it! I don't even know if this game was officially based on Ghostbusters, or it just so happened to feature a green floating glob called Slimer. But at least it's somewhat of a game. Next up, Evil Dead. Yes, an Evil Dead game on Commodore 64. You have to use a lot of imagination here. I think this is Ash, the Bruce Campbell character, or it's the top of a runaway sink. I don't know. This is the cabin. There's the fireplace. And this thing, oh, it's one of those swinging porch chairs. Wow. They tried. The object is to defeat all the Deadites. You can pick up weapons, but when you attack, your arms are invisible. Am I hitting him, or is he hitting me? You can even close doors and windows to stop them from entering. And when you die, the screen bugs out.
Groovy. Well, that exists. I guess let's try the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Come on, nerd. Play our games. Do it now.
Well, it's Rocky Horror. It doesn't matter what I say about it. It's just the fact it exists. You take control of Brad or Janet, arriving at the castle and meeting all the wild characters. If you're familiar with the cult film, you'll enjoy the fact that it has the time warp music. That alone makes it worth it. To serve up another spooky treat, we have The Munsters, based on the Monster sitcom. You might be wondering what the plot of a Munsters game could possibly be. Well, it's based on the episode where Lily Munster is busy running around the house shooting glowing orbs at zombies and floating skull bats. That was a good one. But hey, it's playable, and the whole time I'm sitting here with a smile thinking, I'm playing the Munsters. It even has the music. That always counts for something. Were there any Gremlins games on Commodore? Well, take your pick. There's Gremlins the Adventure, which is one of those guess which word to type in kind of games. At least the graphics are cool, that they tried their best to depict scenes from the movie. The other Gremlins game I came across is action-based. You take control of Billy, I presume, hacking up gremlins with his sword. Yeah, well, there is a sword in one scene of the film, but damn, maybe Billy should have kept that sword throughout the rest of the movie. Maybe then he wouldn't have been such a wuss. His mom, on the other hand, was badass. She killed almost every gremlin in that house. I think if you make a Gremlins game, she should be the main character. But forget about the movie-based games. What you want is stuff like this. Soulless. You're some motherfucking monster going around in a goddamn dungeon, laying waste to inferior monsters. The backgrounds are surprisingly detailed, with horned demon heads and shit. This is metal. But the jumping kind of sucks. What can you do? Next up is Chiller. At first, I thought it was going to be based on that ultra-gory crosshair shooter arcade, the one that got a tamed-down, crappy port on NES. But this game is totally different. You're hopping around this garbled mess collecting tombstones. When you get them all, you advance to the next level, which is a movie theater, and on the screen is the level you were just playing. So you were just inside a movie. That is a video game twist I've never seen, back in the days of Commodore at least. Very innovative. But you haven't seen anything till you've seen Weird Dreams. You want to know about this guy's weird dream? He was in some kind of machine. He jumped and then got transported to a carnival where a giant bee came and grabbed him by the crotch. By the crotch! And then he woke up in some kind of hospital with creepy people looking over him.
Whoa. That is genuinely scary. I wish I could get more of this game to work, but it keeps on glitching. Well, let's move on to the big one. Friday the 13th, the computer game. It says on the back of the box, before playing the game, make sure that you close and lock all doors, windows, and curtains, turn off all lights, use a candle if necessary, make sure Granny isn't in the room, and set the computer volume at maximum. Well, that's a bit of extra work. But hey, it'll help me kill some time while the game loads. Why is there always lightning in my room? Anyway, I'll be right back.
You're free, Jason! But don't kill him yet. Wait for me.
All right, I'm all set. I did everything the box said. I just got to turn the volume up here. Or not.
Well, they certainly put a lot of effort into creating a whole cast of characters who you'll never care about. They even went through the trouble of giving each of them bios. And as far as I remember, none of them were from the movies. In the manual, it even has photos, like some kind of yearbook. Who are these people? The game designers, maybe? Daryl Peters, called Dip by his friends. Daryl doesn't take life seriously and just wants a laugh. As you can see, the graphics are nothing much to applaud or complain about. The floors are gray, the ground is gray, everything is just as bland as ever, but at least there's a lot to explore. Yeah, Camp Crystal Lake has cemeteries, barns, churches, pretty much everything except a lake.
Well, that was random and scary.
The goal is to stop Jason from killing all the camp counselors, which he can do off-screen, and each time one of them's killed, they change to a gravestone. So you're supposed to lure the counselors away from Jason. If you grab a cross and put it in a room, that room becomes the sanctuary, so if you lead the counselors there, they're safe.
What kind of sense does that make? Jason's scared of a cross now? Like Dracula? No, Jason would see that cross and all he'd think is it's something else he could use to stab people with.
I can't wait to be stabbing you, nerd! Hurry up and play my game!
But this game does not lack weapons. This campground has axes, pitchforks, and spears just laying all over the place. You can pick one up at a time. I don't know if it even matters which one you pick.
I'd pick the shovel, not the pick, because the shovel's my pick.
You don't want to pick the pick because the pick is a pick and the shovel isn't a pick. If you pick the pick, the shovel isn't a pick. Now you've got it.
So I have a weapon. I still haven't seen Jason anywhere. So I got restless, and I started killing random people.
That is the most high-pitched, blood-curdling scream I have ever heard in a game. That'll perk your pets up, wake your neighbors. If you turn that up loud, it'll destroy your senses. But damn, let's hear that again. Yeah, again. Oh my god, it's like... Ah! Oh man, that is amazing! That is the best scream of any game ever!
I'm gonna make you scream!
It's addicting. It's like your reward for murdering. Anytime you do it, you get to hear that hilarious shriek. I also love how the bodies stay on the ground, and if you return to the site, the game remembers to keep the body there. Wow, I think I found the true goal of this game. Kill all the counselors before Jason does. Challenge his body count. See who's the real slasher king of Camp Crystal Lake. Where is Jason anyway?
You're not gonna believe this. Is Jason purple or pink, polka dotted? No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing you could even make up. Check this out.
Jason is dead.
Did you miss it? I killed Jason. Look again.
That is Jason. All along, he's been disguised as one of the counselors.
Oh, dude. How do I handle this one? This begs so many questions. First of all, how is that supposed to be Jason?
He looks just like a normal guy. Oh, but he's wearing black clothing, so that makes him Jason. Where's the hockey mask? Even the back of the box mentions the mask, and it's on the damn cover. But why isn't he wearing it? I guess because he couldn't fit it under his rubber face disguise. And why is his real face so normal? You ever seen what Jason's real face looks like in the movies? It's quite distinct. How does Jason disguise himself? Especially when it's a girl. Does he put on a wig and a bathing suit? Oh, that would have been a great scene.
Maybe it's based on the first movie when Jason wasn't the killer. Or maybe it's not Jason Voorhees. It's some other guy that just happened to be named Jason. Or maybe the game is just called Friday the 13th, but it's unrelated. Kind of like that TV show that nobody cared about. Or maybe, just maybe, the game fucking sucks.
The funniest thing about this is that the best strategy to find out which of the counselors is Jason is to kill first and ask questions later. And it works! Just kill everyone in sight. Sooner or later, you'll get them. The game rewards you for such an extreme rash decision. Now, that should be a movie plot. The counselor kills everyone on the assumption they could be Jason, and thus becomes an even worse killer than Jason. What a twist.
This is the least accurate movie-to-game adaptation I have ever seen. This couldn't be any less faithful to the films if the soundtrack had Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Let me tell you something. Maybe you laughed at that comment about the soundtrack having Old MacDonald Had a Farm, or maybe you only got a minor chuckle out of it, or maybe you felt indifferent about it. But one thing's for sure, you're certain that I'm joking. That would be a very rational way of thinking. But the strange thing is, I'm not joking. I am dead fucking serious. What I have heard with my own ears is a Friday the 13th game that has Old MacDonald at a fucking farm!
Jason Voorhees had a farm. And on that farm he killed a guy.
With a here and a here.
Jason Voorhees had a farm. Are you gonna sing Old MacDonald, or are you gonna play my game, bitch?
Now that's the perfect score to go along with people getting murdered over assumptions that they're an immortal serial killer. That should have been in the movies.
Old MacDonald is one of several unlikely songs to be featured in this game. There's the Wedding March, for example. But things get weirder. Check out the manual.
Variety is the word here. Friday the 13th, the computer game, has snatches of music familiar to everyone. Try to name them all.
So it's a name that tune game? On top of being a slasher villain game? I'm genuinely perplexed. In that way, you could put whatever random bullshit you want in anything. That'd be like if I scattered random lol dolls all over the episode for no reason, just to be completely random, just to say later, hey, did you catch all 5? And yeah, I call them lol dolls. Lol dolls. Wow! That is a bleeding severed head with a machete planted in it, in a 1986 video game. That is absolutely stunning. Okay, this game rules, and the manual is a gold mine.
The 2 blood capsules included free with this package are non-toxic and contain red sugar, which forms simulated blood when placed in the mouth.
This game included blood capsules? Where are they? Where? Oh, I guess somebody already used them back in 86. Man, this game keeps getting more and more interesting.
You're not gonna need blood capsules when I get there. How long is this review gonna be?
Win a color monitor? All you have to do to win your Eureka monitor is to listen to the 10 sound effects recorded on your Friday the 13th tape after the computer game?
There's audio on this cassette?
Welcome to the Friday the 13th Horror Sound Effect Competition. You can win a Eureka monitor, which you can touch.
Write the number of each sound in the box opposite the most appropriate description. Finally, imagine what it would be like to own your own software house and decide what name you would give it. 5 entrants with the most dynamic and descriptive names will receive the prizes.
Shithouse Productions. Anyway, I spent way too much time here, so let's move on to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes! Now you're playing with power!
You start this thing up, and right away, you got the cast of characters. Actual characters from Part 3. So this game is based on the Dream Warriors, sort of like the NES version. You start off from a bird's eye view as this little tiny white figure. I feel like I've seen this same pixelated character in other old video games. I bet if you had 20 of these little guys, it could be an old football game or something. The goal here is that you're looking for Freddy's house, just to see if he's home, I guess, and he happens to live in one of the most confusing housing developments. Probably has courts and lanes and Unit A1, B2.
Oh, Freddy's ready already. He's rock steady when he's in the Serengeti. He's chopping off your heady with machete.
He's massive. If I was walking around the neighborhood and this giant dude comes at me, I'd be like, I'm done. Just get me. So I find Freddy's house, and it just looks like any other ordinary house on the block. Then I get a message saying that I've done well, but I now must seek my friends. You'd never know it, but looking at the manual, it's supposed to be Amanda Kruger, Freddy's mom, talking to you. Now, all of a sudden, your character starts to look more like a fleshed-out human being. The interior of Freddy's house is a maze of purple walls, and level 3 is like you're walking around giant slabs of green jello. All throughout the game, you encounter stock enemies like skeletons and ghosts. Yep, we're in another edition of Boo Haunted House. There's hardly any sound in this game. You do get to hear the Freddy music at the start of each level. But during the gameplay, it's dead silent, except for a few sound effects here and there. It even tells you what it is you're supposed to be hearing. You hear Kristen screaming in agony in the distance? Geez, you couldn't actually have a scream? Like in Friday the 13th? You collect weapons and items because, hey, isn't that what all video games were about? You run around picking up junk.
Yeah, that's what the 80s were all about. As kids, we were always carrying around a baseball bat, a magnet, some keys, holy water, magic dagger, you know.
Somewhere you can get a gun, But what would a gun do against an immortal, soul-stealing killer who invades your dreams? Well, I think we're in the dream already, so maybe it's a dream gun. When you collect ammo, it says bullets taken. The terminology just doesn't seem right. Saying I took a bullet carries a much more serious implication.
That'd be like if you were on a plane and the pilot said, "We're going down," but he meant to say, "We're making our descent."
You can even get coffee cups, and as the game says, the coffee restores your soul.
That's how I feel about coffee. We need a shirt of that.
I bet you've seen all these coffee shirts that are out there. Some are mildly amusing, while others are straight up stupid. But they all share one thing. They express a love of coffee. Well, how about one from the Commodore 64 Nightmare on Elm Street that says, "Use coffee to restore your soul"? Some parts you have to pull a lever, but you'll barely notice it amongst all these cracks in the wall. Alright, kill the ghost. Oh wait, what just happened?
A fatal disk error has occurred. Well, there's not much else to see in this game, but the manual has a tech support number. I think I'll call it.
Street tech support, what's your issue?
I'm having a problem with my Commodore freezing up.
Okay, I'm happy to help. I just need a little more information. Do you want a slow death or eternal life in hell? Ha ha! Ha ha! Time to experience a fatal error, nerd! I'm gonna chop you to kilobits! Ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! Free, you bastard!
Yeah.
No! No! No!
Yeah! I've been called upon to take care of business once again. Apparently, there is a game worse than Big Rigs. Worse than Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Worse than Crazy Bus or Desert Bus. It is known as Hong Kong 97, and I've been getting requests for it up the ass. The requests are so far up the ass, it's time to shit them out. The game was made for the Super Famicom in Japan, but never saw its way to the rest of the world. This is one title that we definitely didn't get on the Super Nintendo. It was made by Happysoft. Happysoft was most famous for making Hong Kong 97, their one and only masterpiece. On this one occasion, they rose from the depths of hell, excreted this unholy turd onto the earth, and then descended back to where they came. Supposedly, the game was so horrible, it barely even came out on the Super Famicom at all. Stores rejected it, and its release status is a mystery. It's so rare that to this day, not a single cartridge or physical copy has shown up at all. I can't even find a picture of one. So the only way I can experience this game is the same way as the rest of the internet. No way. How do you like that soundtrack? That won't get annoying at all. I've heard games with 5-second music loops before, but not with lyrics. There's options for 3 different languages. Strange considering how the game didn't travel very far, at least not until the internet got a hold of it. Alright, I'm picking English. We will sell your original SNES games. 1/3 of the gross profit will be yours. We welcome games of any kind. Oh, I bet. So please send us your floppy. Send us your floppy. Would you like to sell our products at your store? We're looking for dealers worldwide. Enough already! How desperate could they be to sell this game? And I guess still nobody bought it because nobody can find a physical copy. Then finally the title screen appears. Jackie Chan.
Apparently Jackie Chan is in the game, who I doubt gave any consent to Happy Soft or was even aware of it. The image is stolen from the film Wheels on Meals. The game was released, made, or at least copyrighted in 1995, but set in the future of 1997. The year 1997 has arrived. A herd of... This can't be real. No, somebody's pulling my leg. A herd of fucking ugly reds? Was a herd of ugly reds too weak? Did they really need the F word to fucking drive home the fucking point? This was before cursing in games was common. I remember how shocked I was when I first played Rambo on NES and saw the word hell. But here, they dropped the F-bomb! They did it! A game made for the Super Famicom! It's the closest you'd ever get to a Super Nintendo game that says fuck. And the music is still going. A herd of fucking ugly reds, period, are rushing from the mainland. Crime rate skyrocketed. Hong Kong is ruined. Therefore, the Hong Kong government called Bruce Lee's relative Chin. Bruce Lee's relative. Just happens to be as skilled as Bruce Lee. Not a brother, a son, or even a cousin. Just some unspecified relative. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you were related to, I don't know, Michael Jordan, would that mean that you're automatically good at basketball? Okay, so Bruce Lee is in the background, the guy at the podium is Chris Patton, former governor of Hong Kong, and over there is Jackie Chan. Which one is Chin? For the Massacre of the Reds, Chin is a killer machine. That's Chin? It's Jackie Chan playing Bruce Lee's relative Chin. Oh, Chin. What a name. Could it be any more common? Oh, wipe out all 1.2 billion of the red communists. Stop. I can't take anymore. I haven't even seen the game yet. Oh. Wipe out 1.2 billion people. And if I'm not mistaken, in 1995, that would have been the entire population of China. Bruce Lee's relative is so powerful, he's the equivalent of 1,000 nukes. He's gonna murder the entire population of China by breaking their necks. Even when Bruce Lee would take down 20 people, it took him a little bit of time. But now comes Chin. You don't fuck with Chin. However, in mainland China, there was a secret project in progress. A project to transform the deceased Deng Xiaoping into an alternate... It's killing me. So apparently, for the character of Deng Xiaoping, they used an actual image of a real Chinese leader, Deng Xiaoping. Spelled differently, but pronounced very similar. When the game was made, this guy was still alive. Couldn't they have at least had the courtesy to wait for him to die before transforming him into an ultimate weapon? This is the most epic, absurd opening to any video game I've ever seen. Nothing compares. That'd be like if I made a game called New York 2017. Motherfucking demons from the planet Jupiter have arrived through the Manhattan portal. The leader of United States calls upon Master Joe, John Wayne's half-cousin's stepson, to annihilate the 2.5 octodecillion alien scum of the universe. However, on Jupiter's secret moon, a master plan is conceived to resurrect the astro-demonoid Dill Clinton into a mecha doomsday machine. Now that I've digested all that, let's play the game. One hit and the game's over. Why would I expect anything more? No. Oh, please. I hope that's not a real dead body. No, there's no way they'd have such bad taste. That's got to be an actor. Or we're looking at some guy who died on that date and time in 1992. Oh, this couldn't get the Nintendo endorsement? I'm so shocked that this didn't come out on Super Nintendo.
Every time you die, it resets the whole game. You have to go through the whole introduction again. This is almost as tedious as Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Great game, but you have to wait through a long, drawn-out game over screen just to get back to the title screen, select your file, and load the game all over again. That is some fucking bullshit. But this is a game that isn't even good. Not even close. And no, the song never stops. No sound effects either, just that same loop. Even when the game restarts, it doesn't interrupt it. The song never needs to reboot. It's quite impressive, actually. Nothing can stop that loop. You'll be hearing that in your dreams. So let's talk about what's happening here. Obviously, it's a 2D shooter, nothing more to say. What you see is what you get. Chin's only method of attack is throwing projectiles, because if you're related to Bruce Lee, that means you can shoot white balls. This guy is so good, he does it all with his back turned. Everybody he hits, they don't just die, they burst into an atomic fucking explosion! And it's inside a square, like they just slapped a picture of a mushroom cloud on there. Why is the background Coca-Cola? Did they run out of ideas? Like, what should we put there? Anybody got any ideas? Anybody? Coca-Cola. Alright. You know, there was a movie called Hong Kong 97. It came out in 94, 1 year before this game. That can't be a coincidence. So I'm going to consider this a movie-based game. Just so I can say it has nothing to do with the movie. In less than 5 minutes, the final boss appears, Tung Xiaoping, played by Deng Xiaoping, who has been transformed into a so-called ultimate weapon. What kind of ultimate weapon is that? He's just a head! After you kill him, the game continues and loops endlessly, so there's no real ending to the game. Unless maybe you kill 1.2 billion people without getting hit once, but who would ever try that? The strange thing is that Deng Xiaoping actually died in 1997. The game predicted the future. In fact, 1997 was the year the United Kingdom returned their rule of Hong Kong back to China. The movie from 94 forecast this in the tagline, 99 years of British rule are about to come to an end. Hong Kong will never be the same. The movie stars Robert Patrick, the T-1000 from Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Judgment Day takes place in 1997. Part of Deng Xiaoping's ear is sort of cut off, like when Mike Tyson bit off a piece of Evander Holyfield's ear in 1997. The car, I'm willing to bet, is a Mercedes-Benz in which Princess Diana died in 97. And what was the year Coca-Cola launched Surge? 97. And it's no coincidence all my Surge protectors were made in China. Rebooting the entire game after you die, just like Symphony of the Night, 97. Jackie Chan, Rumble in the Bronx, New York City, the Big Apple. The year Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 97. The unstoppable, unrelenting song is called I Love Beijing Tiananmen, also known as I Love Peking Tiananmen. Peking duck is a famous duck dish from Beijing. And Scrooge McDuck had his 50th anniversary in 97. The game was such a titanic failure. Titanic, the movie from 97. Why was this game's sole purpose to direct us to the number 97? Huh. Like the NGC 97 galaxy in the constellation of Andromeda. The Princess Andromeda, who was chained naked to a rock to be sacrificed to a monster. Like Princess Leia and Jabba in Return of the Jedi. The special edition of Star Wars in 97. Oh, fuck, we're back again. Man, I was just trying to get a final answer here, but I went full circle. Like the song that keeps looping. A game that keeps repeating. Maybe it's all about a cycle. An endless cycle. Old shitty games that become new again. The past becomes the future. Birth and death. On and on. It's a cycle of life. The game is the meaning of life. And the thing that keeps life going. Reproduction. And food. Which becomes shit. The game is fucking shit there. I want to take you back to the holiday shopping season of December 92. Kids were hyped for awesome new toys, and I guess the movie toys on VHS too. But I was more into demonic toys, which was released the same year. Anyway, my Christmas list included a Batman Returns playset, probably some Ninja Turtles figures, and of course, Super Nintendo games. But sadly, many kids didn't get a Super Nintendo from Santa, and instead got this lump of coal shat into their stockings. Bartman meets Radioactive Man. Now you may remember, I already talked about the first two Simpsons NES games. Boy, that was 13 years ago. Damn.
but these were so bad, they literally made me eat my own shorts. The Simpsons is a show that's been running for a long, long time. It was great back then, but it's gone on way too long and it needs to stop. Okay, on to AVGN episode 180-something. Well, The Simpsons is obviously a huge franchise, and if you take a look at all the other huge franchises that made it to the NES, you'll see that one certain company held the monopoly. Spider-Man, LJN, Friday the 13th, LJN, X-Men, LJN, Jaws, LJN, Back to the Future, LJN, Karate Kid, LJN, Roger Rabbit, LJN, Simpsons, Acclaim. Who bought and owned LJN? Acclaim. Why couldn't it be Konami? Konami made some awesome Ninja Turtles games and had the rights to make the Simpsons arcade game, which was probably one of the most popular beat-em-ups ever made. What deal with the devil did Acclaim make to get the rights to make Simpsons Nintendo games? Even on the 16-bit consoles, we never got a port of the Simpsons arcade. And for what reason? They put it on DOS and Commodore 64. Seriously, the only way to play Simpsons arcade at home back in the day was on DOS and Commodore 64? I can't even imagine trying to play it that way. I never got the whole fascination with Bartman. I mean, in the 90s, there was Bartman merchandise out the ass. I mean, Bartman was everywhere, except for the actual show. When this game came out, the only time Bartman ever appeared on the show was in the episode 3 Men in a Comic Book from Season 2. There was a Bartman comic book, but that didn't really start till '93, the year after this game came out. They must have been really reaching for ideas to vomit out another Simpsons game. The plot starts with Bart in his treehouse reading a comic when Fallout Boy, the sidekick of Radioactive Man, not the emo band, comes in and tells Bart that Radioactive Man is trapped in the limbo dimension and needs Bart's help to escape. So Bart changes into Bartman and sets out to help Radioactive Man. So this is the third Simpsons NES game, and it seems Bart's learned nothing after fighting space mutants and the world. Because he still controls like shit. Even that jumping sound is intact. So it definitely feels like the third part of a trilogy of paper cuts on your dick hole. So the point of the game is to defeat 3 supervillains and restore Radioactive Man's powers so you can take on Braino the Magnificent. The first enemy you take on is Swamp Hag. You start off in a junkyard fighting dogs, giant bugs, and a weird guy that I think was in the background of an episode one time. There's also tiny rats that are too short to hit. Shit like this is up there with the most asshole-ish offenses in horrible game design. How does making an enemy impossible to hit fair? It's bullshit. Along the way, you collect power-ups, like Laser Eyes, a tornado that makes Bart invincible, exclamation points that give you a 1-up, if you collect 20 of them. There's also, whatever this is, that brings you to the Limbo Zone. It's a bonus level that wastes your time and makes you redo most of the level. Yeah, you can collect 1-ups here, but you get enough of them during the actual game. It's best just to skip them, unless you actually want to play more of this game, which I don't. Whenever you get to these giant mountains of trash, it's a crapshoot. Going up the mountain is easy enough. When you have to go down the other side, you have no idea where you can land, so you just have to jump and hope for the best. Sometimes you can see a screw or a gear shooting up, so you know a platform's there, but lots of the time, you just have to jump and hope you land on something. If you don't land on a tire pile, you fall through the trash and die. I don't get why you can step on tires and TVs, but just go straight through a solid mountain of fucking garbage until you fall to hell. I hate this shit, and when you die, odds are you're starting all over from the beginning. There's checkpoints, but they're far into the level, and these levels go on forever. It's a soul-crushing experience, but eventually you'll see through the bullshit and realize exactly how lazy this game truly is. You just keep encountering the same 4 or 5 things over and over. It's monotonous and honestly, a little insulting. I can't understand who the fuck this was meant for. It can't be Simpsons fans, because other than Bart and a couple other characters, this game has barely anything to do with the show. And it definitely can't be aimed at people who like good video games, because this game sucks nut butter from a jar. Level 2 is another LJN game requirement, the sewer level. I've played a lot of suck-bitch sewer levels in my life, and this one is up there with the worst of them. There aren't many enemies, but there's these weird platform things that shoot at you. For some reason, these snowflakes or sparks or whatever they are don't do shit, unless you're standing on it. I mean, it's just another thing that they threw in just to prey upon first-time players. You know, if this game were a person, be a person I don't like. These platforms take forever, so to save time, I just jump down. But the game decides all of a sudden to kill you. If the screen doesn't catch up with Bart, you just die. And with the crap controls, expect to die a lot. Oh, I mean, these jumps. I mean, just look. The next level's a flying one. It's annoying and long, but once you know what to expect, it's easy. These bats are pretty annoying because their bombs are really hard to avoid. Bat shit bombs. I mean, actually, this level is the closest you get to a shred of actual fun. It's a shame. Then you fight Swamp Hag. She throws lumps of shit down at you from a treetop. You freeze it, jump on the frozen shit platforms, and then beat the fuck out of her. Also, I should mention, this boss fight is the exact moment where the game developers just gave up. It honestly messed with my head because it's so insanely easy. Everything else until this point was so frustrating, I wanted to belt sand my anus hole off. This boss fight, though, is so easy, it's almost pointless. And the next levels are easy too. There's the occasional beginner's trap, but by now I've gotten used to it. This level with the conveyor belt was kind of fucked, but once you realize exactly what's fucked about it, you're able to make it to the exit, no problem. It's the most obvious path to take. But the game fucks with your head. You think that there's no way it could actually be that easy, but it is. There's numerous routes to take, and if you go the wrong way, you'll fall into a piss river. I mean, seriously, look at that. It's a glowing yellow river of piss that Bart drowns in. The water levels seem like they're going to be hard because, you know, they're water levels. But no, I got through them without any issues. In this one, everything's dark except for the searchlight, and even this is easy. The boss here is Dr. Julius Crab, not Zoidberg. All you have to do is avoid the small crab, and sure, you can him 3 times, and then it's on to the next level. Now you're in the underground caves of Lava Man. This level is whatever. I got stuck in the beginning here for a while before I realized I have to fall down this pit. Up until now, Bart died from falling in pits, and the game was cheap as shit with its death traps, so I kept passing it. Like I said, this game fucks with your head. Other than that, the level's straightforward. It's actually challenging, and doesn't throw too much bullshit at you. You also get to make use of Bartman's flight powers. They're limited, so whatever you do, don't run out in a place where you get fucked over, like this. The next level is a bullshit maze of doorways that lead you all over the place. This is definitely the worst level in the game. The first thing you run into is a waterfall that kills you instantly. There's absolutely zero indication that it's a hazard until you touch it and just die. The shit part is, they're littered throughout the level, and a lot of the time I forget and get killed again. They just look like part of the background. Also, you can't jump between platforms, even if they look close enough. If you do, guess what? You die. Eventually, you find your way around and get near the end when they throw this room at you. You have to choose between 4 doors. One door is the right way, and the others just bring you damn near back to the beginning. So of course I chose the wrong door and had to redo it all. This is extremely close to the end of the game. By now I know all the traps and how to avoid them, but I keep getting fucked by this door puzzle. It's basically the coffin puzzle in Bart vs. the World, repackaged and even more annoying. I'm on my last life, and even if I make it through, I'm probably gonna have to do that fucking door puzzle again. I drew a map, and thankfully, that helped out. I made it through, beat Lava Man, who thank God is also easy as shit, and got Radioactive Man's final power back. They talk for like 5 seconds, then go off together to face the final boss. Braino the Magnificent! Oh, I'm on my last life. I really don't want to do this over again. But it's the easiest boss fight so far. You shoot lasers that bounce off Braino and reflect off Radioactive Man. It only takes 5 hits, and Braino can hardly even hurt you. The guy's a giant brain, but it's dumb as shit. Then Radioactive Man awkwardly talks to Bartman again, and that's it. The shitty-ass game is done. And I don't have to play another one for a while. But for how long? For a little bit at least. The NES Simpsons games were such a steaming ass pile, squirted out the diseased dickhole of my arch nemesis LJN in disguise. Acclaim was able to pass off their putrid piss poison as presents, ruining Christmas for lots of kids. Oh, that makes me so angry. I'm gonna have a cow, man!
Judging from the box, I don't even know what to think of it, An interactive romantic comedy. A plumber, a daddy's girl, chickens, crazed yuppies, evil bosses, shower scenes, race cars, pandas, a nun?
What kind of game is this? Oh, what's this? Get it? No! I don't get it!
Hi, my name's Jane. We hardly know each other, but that's about to change.
This is interesting.
Put your big, muscular arm around me and whisper sweet things in my ear. And I promise to do whatever your heart desires.
Wow.
Now listen up. The rules of the game are real simple. You see, I meet this guy in a parking lot. Now you are supposed to identify with this guy.
So she talks for 3 minutes as the camera zooms in on her breasts. Then the title screen pops up. You can't be serious. It looks like a kindergarten student did this in Microsoft Paint. And listen to the stock music. This has to be the worst title screen I've ever seen. Then come the credits. Race cars? Why is the color a negative? And then it goes into sort of a mosaic. Looks like a bad quality picture off the web. Then it goes to like a vertical letterbox. The titles are so bland. There's no drop shadow to separate them from the background, and the colors are picked at random, like a child selecting random pieces of chalk on a sidewalk. And it just goes on and on. Why are we watching still images of race cars? Why all the wacky filters? Why does it keep showing a naked guy lying in bed? Why is there a panda in a car on the bed? Why'd they leave so much extra space when they cut out the panda from whatever background it originally belonged to? Why is the perspective butchered so badly? It doesn't even look like it's really there. But then why would it be there anyway? Now why is it just a head of a panda? Why would there ever be a floating head of a panda next to someone's bed? We haven't even gotten through the credits yet, and this game is already a pile of monkey fuck. Okay. What's this? What's going on? Okay, so the credits are finally over, and now we get a slideshow.
It's your mother. Now get your ass out of bed. I know you're there, John. John? I said get up, John.
Get out of bed, John! Get out of bed! Yeah, great concept. Every game should begin with 2 minutes of some guy's mom trying to get him out of bed.
Stop smart-mouthing with me, young man. Why is it I haven't seen you with any woman? Why is that, John? Don't you like women anymore? John, are you gay?
What?
Cut the crap and listen to me. It's time you got married. You need children. I need grandchildren. I need my only child to bear fruit. And in my lifetime, don't you love your mother?
This is not a game. This is like watching a movie. Or no, it isn't. A movie is something that moves. This doesn't move. It's a bunch of still images. If the beginning was actual video, why couldn't the rest be?
Oh, thank God that's over. Now maybe we get to play the game.
Where are you, Jane?
You called me, Daddy. Don't you know where I'm at?
What? There's more of this shit?
Why the hell aren't you married yet, Jane? In that last scene, that bitch of a mother told her son to have kids.
And keep in mind, you're seeing the abridged version. I've been sitting here nearly 10 minutes so far.
Christ's sake, girl, how long does it take these days? You ain't that busy. Now, damn it, Jane, you get on the stick and make some babies for your poor old father.
So there's her story. John and Kate are both pressured by each of their parents to find a significant other. Then we get a montage set to rockabilly music. Apparently, both Jane and John, these two unrelated characters, are taking showers at the same exact moment. There's a code to remove the censor bars, or censor face with the nose, but that's only if you really want to see John's hairy ass that much. They drag these scenes on as long as possible. Why is any of this necessary? Do we need to see their whole daily routine? Changing clothes, lifting weights, playing with cats, trying on more clothes, playing air guitar with a plunger? Oh, so is he a plumber? Well, the game's called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, so I guess it makes sense. He's a plumber, and I don't see him wearing a tie. What the fuck? You can't even trust the damn title! And it keeps on going. We see everything. He gets on a motorcycle, she gets in a car, she's putting on lipstick, he drops his mail in the mailbox. Come on, why is that important? Then finally, Jane and John meet in a parking lot.
Whoa! It's 8 o'clock and I'm seeing a 10. what I wouldn't give to do her plumbing.
Yeah, okay. What the fuck?
We know she'd like to meet him. She knows she'd like to meet him. But does John know she'd like to meet him?
And now we get a narrator? After 15 minutes of this crap, all of a sudden we need a narrator to start explaining it?
It's up to you, sport.
Then finally we get a choice of what happens next.
So, who do you want to make the first move? If you want John to do it, hit A now.
This is the first time there's any interactivity with this game whatsoever, but it's just as much interactive as playing with the menus on a DVD. There's games like Night Trap and Dragon's Lair, which are like movies, and there's not a lot of actual gameplay, but this piece of shit is way, way below that. This isn't even in the same category as those kind of games. It's the bare minimum of what you can actually call a game.
Do girls actually like guys who are really aggressive? I don't think so.
But what makes it even worse is the control. Yeah, you might be wondering, how the fuck could the control be bad on something like this? Well, what happens, the highlighter gets stuck. At first, I thought my D-pad was broken. But no, what it is, you have to wait for the narration to finish.
John throws caution to the wind and pursues Jane. Be careful!
Every fucking time you move, you have to hear the same thing before you can use the D-pad again.
Do girls actually like guys who are really aggressive? I don't think so.
What the fuck?
Have John wait later on.
So Jane rejects John and goes to a job interview. Gotta love the elevator music. So then we get a choice. Either she gets the job, she doesn't get the job, or the boss becomes a pervert.
Note, you must be 18 or over to take a look at this decision.
You gotta be 18? On the box, it says 17. This was before the rating system, but what kind of fucked up rating is this? The box says 17, but for this one part, you gotta be 18.
You know, perhaps something can be worked out after all. Take your clothes off, Jane.
Oh, shit.
You know, we get at least 200 qualified applicants for every position here. It's those people who do that little extra thing. They're the ones who get ahead.
Oh, what a bad joke. It doesn't even have any relevance now. He just told her to take off her clothes. He might as well say straight out, suck my cock.
Take your damn clothes off!
What a pervert. And what's with all the filters?
Now see how your sick curiosity led Jane into this mess?
Time for another decision. Either she refuses to take off her clothes or she accepts. Now, wait a minute. The first decision says our heroine declines the disgusting proposal. But in the image, she seems to be taking off her clothes while running away, but still. It doesn't make any sense. Did they swap the images by accident? So let's go with the more interesting choice. Damn! She just happened to have a whip and handcuffs? Wow, I had no idea she'd actually do it.
What kind of fucked up game is this? What's with the crazy filters?
Oh, now you've done it. You've really done it. How could you make Jane into such a perverted young thing? I've guided a lot of people through this story, but I've never seen such a disgusting series of plot choices in my life.
A fucking chicken mask. An upside down fucking chicken mask.
So anyway, Mr. Chickenhead scolds you for your bad decision and tells you that you have one last chance. So let's pick the other one and see what happens. So she strips down to a bra and skirt for no apparent reason. The boss grabs her leg, she kicks him in the face and runs for the door. Or no, she doesn't run, she just stands there. The boss grabs a pen and comes after her like a deranged psychopath. And there's Jane just standing there. She even has time to go into the men's room. The boss goes into the women's room, and next thing they're both out in the hall. I don't know, I don't even understand this. Now they're outside, and she has her clothes back on. I guess it was a public parking lot, and they couldn't just have a girl running around in a bra and skirt. I don't know. Maybe the actress didn't want to do it, but for whatever reason, it doesn't follow any continuity. Then John sees what's happening. Now, what was he doing in the parking lot the whole time? Just sitting on his motorcycle? So he comes running, and I guess he's gonna save her. Oh no, it's time for the narrator.
Well, sport, you think you can handle this choice without getting the lowest score in the history of this game?
What, there's somebody else who played this shit?
Who the hell are you?
I'm taking over this story.
Who's this?
Over my dead body?
Take that!
I wonder how this would have all played out if it was actually moving.
I'm taking it over. Finally got rid of that obnoxious character. And that horrible music.
No kidding. At least the game's self-aware.
I'm what's known as a takeover artist, wanted in 30 states for hijacking fiction.
So she's taking over as the narrator. Why is this necessary? Do we not have enough narrators? On the selection screens, we have at least 2 different voices talking to us. And then on top of that, there's this goofball, and now a fucking karate chick. So now she's looking at the past choices we made, just so she can scold us and we have to hear the same shit all over again.
These are the most disgusting series of plot choices I have ever seen.
Yeah, I get it.
You deserve every minus point you have gotten, and even more.
I get it.
I don't believe it. How could you make such choices?
Enough already.
Were you raised in a barn?
Could they possibly drag this out any longer?
Help me, help!
Run, Jane, run!
What? Her shirt's back off again? Okay, so the parking lot was obviously not a problem, because now she's in an even more populated area. Oh, here comes the banana peel. Classic. The longer this goes, the more you wish that it was full motion video. I mean, that's what this kind of game is classified as. Full motion video, FMV. But the only motion part is the beginning. It's not like the 3DO was incapable of this. The Sega CD could do it, and that was before. And if you look at Wing Commander 3, the whole game is full of video. And it's almost like DVD quality. It looks good. And that was the same console. So if that game could do it, why not this one? So they're running through Hollywood, goofing around in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater, Griffith Observatory, and it's like a series of vacation photos. This is horrible. This isn't something you make into a game and put into stores. This is like a weird sort of college experiment. If you even count this as a game, it's probably the worst game I've ever seen in my life. And that's one hell of an accomplishment. This chase scene goes on and on and on. And we get the battle of the narrators intermixed with the whole thing, just to stretch it out even longer. What's going on? Why are there lines of bullets? If he's shooting her, shouldn't the bullets be coming from the gun or scattered across her body? Why are they just placed randomly all over the screen? And they put an X on her face to show that she's dead.
I'm back in control now.
Are there dogs applauding? I'm not imagining that, am I? There's dogs clapping! I didn't even know that dogs were fucking watching! So the next thing that happens, the boss, whose name is Thresher by the way, he offers to pay Jane for sex. So after trying to rape her and kill her, now he's offering her money. So for the next 5 minutes, John tries to persuade Jane while she negotiates her price with Thresher.
Your original deal was $5 million for one night, right? So what's $7.5 million for 2 nights? I'm giving you a $2.5 million discount.
That's way too rich. 5.5 million.
I'm not kidding. It goes on for like 5 minutes. It's like $5 million for a day, $7.5 million for a weekend, $5 million, $7 million, $5 million, $20 million for a week. Ah, like stop it! Get to the point.
No way, I ain't no slut. 7.
6.
Later that night. Oh, thank God.
6 7/8. How much is that anyway?
What? They're still negotiating? And how is it later that night? It's not night. It's not fucking night. So then John goes into this big emotional speech.
I don't want you for a night. I want you for a lifetime. I've been searching for you.
What's going on? Why are people laughing?
I'm going to keep that in the script.
It's an outtake? They left an outtake?
I'm going to use that. I'm going to take
Just for a joke?
Okay.
So it's technically not an outtake. It's an intake of an outtake. What the fuck? Why'd they do this? His slip was that he said searching for me instead of searching for you. Was it that funny? So if you have Jane accept Thresher's offer, they just walk away, you get scolded, and then you have to go back to the decision.
Uh-oh, I screw up. Could you give me another run?
So if you pick the other choice, she walks away with John. They go out in the parking lot where they originally met. I don't know if to be ironic or just out of convenience.
Well, congratulations.
Now for the final choice. Either I want the Hollywood ending or give me something different. Yeah, you know what? Give me something different. Give me a different fucking game.
This is one of the worst things I have ever seen in my life. On the box, it says plays like a game, but feels like a movie. Well, that's horse shit. It does not play like a game, and it certainly does not feel like a movie. It's a slideshow that verges on being softcore porn, but it isn't that either. It's like some kind of experimental art project. If I just made a bunch of shit and put all kinds of filters on it, that would be the same as this miserable pile of fuck. It would also be the same to go take a shit on a piece of toast on top of a roof while wearing a fish mask singing I'm Too Sexy.
Here's a story of a little thing that went a long way. It's the Nintendo Game Boy. While not the first portable game console, it was the first to make such a big impact. It was hugely successful. There were some amazing exclusive games like Link's Awakening, which alone made it worth it, but lots of the games were just poor versions of NES titles and shameful, watered-down arcade games. It didn't matter how compromised they were. As long as they could fit on a Game Boy cartridge, why not? The only reason to own Street Fighter II on Game Boy would be to play it on a trip or something. But what about when you're at home? You better own the console version too, because if all you had was this, oh man. None of these inferiorities hampered the Game Boy's success, nor did the monochrome graphics. A lot of people say the Game Boy's in black and white, but really, it's more like 4 ugly shades of green. The screen has no light, so if you try to play it in the dark, you'll see nothing. You'd think it made a big sensation only because of the novelty of it being portable, and that it would soon fade away once the next thing would come along. But no, that didn't happen. And the competition was fierce. There was the Sega Game Gear, the Atari Lynx, amongst others. They all had color and lighted screens, but that scrappy little Game Boy kicked all their asses. It came out in '89 and wasn't discontinued until 2003. During its lifespan, there was Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and even GameCube hit the scene before this gray brick with puke-colored graphics finally died out. Also, as famously shown in Nintendo Power, a soldier in the Gulf War had a Game Boy that survived a bomb blast. Even though it was burnt black, it still powered on. You can't stop the Game Boy. They were released in different colors, like black, red, and yellow. They even made one transparent. Nintendo Power made stickers, which are still on my only working Game Boy. Then there was the carrying case, which looked like a giant Game Boy. A whole lineage was started, including the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance SP, which evolved into the DS and 3DS. But it's impressive how long the original Game Boy stuck around. And naturally, during that time, lots of add-ons were made for it, mostly by third parties. These ranged from practical to flat-out ridiculous. And that's what I want to focus on here. The point is, the Game Boy was a long-lived success, and here's the accessories that probably had nothing to do with it. The Super Game Boy was perhaps the most useful, though it's technically a Super Nintendo add-on, an adapter to play Game Boy games on your TV, colorized with lots of color presets and the option to mix your own color combinations. There's border graphics and the ability to draw all over it. A total time waster, but how could you resist? Certain games were specifically made for the Super Game Boy with their own color design and borders. But onto the Game Boy. The first thing that comes to mind is the link cable. It's just a simple way to connect 2 Game Boys so 2 players could compete in Tetris, for example. But then there's the 4-player adapter. It sounds cool, but you need 4 people, 4 copies of the same game, and the game had to be 4-player compatible. That's a rare situation. It would be easier to get the band Witchfinder General back together than getting 4 people to play this thing. Then there's the Game Genie, so you can enter cheat codes. You'd think maybe, just maybe, with this being a portable console, there would be a possibility that it would be the only console to not have Game Genie. But nope. What next? Is there a Game Genie for a Tiger game? So when you're playing in public, everybody will notice this big contraption mounted on the top. Just a big flag to say, hey everybody, I'm cheating. I do have to say, it's really cool that it has a spot that holds the code book. Now you have no excuse to misplace it. With all portable consoles, there is always that issue that when you're going on a trip, you always had to make sure to pack extra batteries. You know there's a battery called God Camel and Die Hard? Yippee double A, motherfucker. But you didn't need any of that, because the Game Boy had its own rechargeable battery pack. Sure, you had to buy it separately, but you had the option. But then comes all the weird third-party stuff like the Game Boy Solar Charger. Oh, come on, you can charge a Game Boy with sunlight? So I tried it. You're supposed to lay it out in the sun for up to 8 hours for a full charge. Then you slip your Game Boy in it, you plug the solar unit into the DC input on the side of the Game Boy, and it works. I have no idea how long it lasts, but it works. Well, this is an eco-friendly solution right here. I'm impressed. So when it comes to charging a Game Boy, there's many options. Is there anything else I don't know about? Is there a Game Boy Wind charger out there? No matter how you charge the Game Boy, the screen still looks like shit, and you can't play it in the dark. Well, here comes the newbie light. So apparently it sticks to the top of the Game Boy. So you just clip it on, how's that good? It works. You turn it on, you dim the room lights, or even play in total darkness, and it does the job. But it takes the same amount of batteries as the Game Boy, so in total, you'd need 8 AA batteries. Damn. Then there's the Light Boy. It's the same concept, except this one has a magnifying glass to make the screen appear larger. This one is hard to fit on. You really gotta shove it on there. This time, it only uses 2 batteries, but the light isn't working. Probably broken. Then there's the Light Magic. There must be hundreds of these things. It's the same exact thing as the Light Boy, but it attaches to the Game Boy much easier. Other than that, nothing's different. The light works, so here you can see it in action. It's a nice way to boost the visual appeal, but why not just make a new Game Boy model with a normal screen like everything else? Every version of these magnification light things seem to try to top the other. This one, called the Handy Boy, was released by STD? STD? Who in their right mind would name their game company STD? It's got the light thing. Oh shit. Wow, that just flew across the room. Okay, wow. Oh. Wow, that really sucks. That really sucks. I broke that. It was fresh out of the box, and it broke. Sure, it was old, but it seemed like it was hardly used. So I had to rush order a second one on eBay. This one I'm treating as delicately as possible. This one's actually in worse condition, but the amount of use it got probably made it less stiff. This whole thing is ridiculous. Game Gear never did anything like... Oh, never mind. The good thing about this contraption is that it requires no extra batteries. But there's a light on it, so how does it power on? Well, somehow it taps into the Game Boy's own battery power. The back of the box shows it connecting to the DC port on the side of the Game Boy. But that's a DC input, right? Not an output. Is it both? I tried it, and as expected, it does not work. Not only that, but the moment I plug it in, it shuts the Game Boy down. So this can't be right. Who knows? Maybe somebody out there has tried it this way and it actually does work, but mine doesn't. However, there is another way to power this thing. Yeah, they gave you a second option, as if they knew it sucked. Well, I wish I didn't have to do this, but... Yeah, look at that. You're supposed to stick it in the battery slot and lay the batteries over it so the contact points and the batteries sandwich it in place. And guess what? It works like shit. The light comes on and off at random. I have to constantly jiggle it around to get the light back on, but it keeps going off again. The screen magnification is alright, but as you can see, my glass really needs cleaning. Then there's the controller add-on. What's the point of this? In case you didn't like the controller that was already there? It was fine enough. Why do you need this? Does it add anything to the game? Is it any better? No, it's fucking horrible. It's all stiff and awkward. Who'd want to play it like this? The speakers are meant to amplify the sound, in case you didn't think the Game Boy's speakers were loud enough. Because that's what you want if you're in public, right? Like if you're on a bus, you want everybody to hear what you're playing. But the speakers on this thing are actually less loud than the Game Boy speakers. Maybe they're full of dust. There was also the amplifier by Newbie, so the idea of making the Game Boy louder became its own line of experiments. But then came the ultimate project. If you want to get serious about your Game Boy, then let me introduce the booster. This big-ass motherfucker is like the mecha combiner robot of the Game Boy family. It would be cool to see it fight a Game Gear, but that would take me extra weeks. It takes C batteries, but the Game Boy gets to tap into the booster's power by plugging the booster into its DC input the way it should. So at least they got the power situation worked out. It magnifies and lights the screen just like the others. It has a cover for the front with new controllers, but again, the Game Boy's controls were perfectly fine, so why would you need this? Just get rid of it. As for the speaker volume, when would you ever want it that loud? You only play it like a foot away from your face. There's a cartridge compartment on the back, just for convenience. It can hold 4 games, 3 games, 2. It holds only 2 games. Overall, if you didn't like how lightweight and convenient the Game Boy was, and the portability is not something you find appealing, and you wanted something more bulky and awkward, then this is for you. Then there's the Game Boy camera. That's right, a camera for the Game Boy. And there's no complicated installation. You just pop it in like any game cartridge and snap a picture yourself. There's no way this would work. Let me try this. It works. Wow. This is selfies before selfies. You can save your pictures to albums, you can mess around with them, you can even play built-in games, like this Space Invaders clone. Yeah, it's the most basic game you could possibly play, but hey, why not? For some reason, it has a suicide button that blows yourself up. Then there's all kinds of weird random games. What the hell is that? The more you play around with this, the more strange things happen. But basically, it's a camera that's a Game Boy cartridge. Oh, I wonder if it works on Super Game Boy. It does. Holy shit. But the camera can't work, can it? Oh my, it actually works. But if you want to take a picture of yourself, you have to turn the Super Nintendo around. The bottom line, it could be done. But hey, look here, I can decorate my face. Now, this is too much fun. Also, there is the Game Boy printer, so if you want to print the pictures, yeah, that can happen. Wow! Lots of these Game Boy accessories are rare. Some of the ones that I couldn't get my hands on are the Game Boy FM radio, the Work Boy, where you can plug in a keyboard and turn the Game Boy into a personal computer, just in case you didn't like using a monitor. Then there was the Hudson Soft Kiss link, which allowed you to connect the Game Boy to the internet and download exclusive gaming content from Hudson's website. There was the Barcode Boy, which was a barcode scanner with games included, where you unlocked certain features by scanning barcodes found on cards and merchandise. There was the Game Boy Pocket Sonar, so if you bring a Game Boy on a fishing trip, you can detect fish up to 65 feet underwater. The Game Boy Color had a mobile phone adapter and a sewing machine. I repeat, a sewing machine that came with a game cart where you choose a sewing pattern and then the machine sews the pattern. There were also Game Boy shoes. Big platform shoes with spaces to fit your Game Boy Color. Yeah, you look so fucking awesome. But then, to top it off, the grand finale. I'm not even emotionally ready to tell you about this, so just sit back. Here it is. The Petty Sedate. This thing was intended for hospitals to help children relax when they're about to be put under for surgery or medical procedure. Essentially, it's a pair of headphones that you plug into the Game Boy. You could probably plug it into any portable gaming console, but more importantly, it has a cup that goes over the child's mouth and releases the sleep gas or laughing gas or whatever it is they need. So it's the only gaming peripheral I know of that gasses you. Imagine being sedated while playing fucking Dr. Mario. What would that be like? Oh my god, I was gonna make up a bunch of fake shit at the end, like the Game Boy Dog Turd Collector. But nothing I can make up can top this. And this thing was real. I mean, it didn't get released, but it was invented and patented. The Game Boy must have been the most multi-purpose thing in existence. Astronauts actually took it into space. It could withstand bomb blasts. You could take photos, print, sew, find fish, get sedated. What do you get when you take Godzilla, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Voltron, Saved by the Bell, and put them all together? You get Power Rangers. It was like an extended toy commercial, with action figures being staged in epic shots. It was martial arts. It was comedy. It was giant Japanese rubber suit monsters. It was mechanical dinosaurs. It was robots coming together to make bigger robots. A turtle with a traffic light on its head. Monsters that would make wisecracks and rap. And ridden around all these Japanese action scenes was an American teenage sitcom. Power Rangers uses stock footage from a long-running Japanese show, Super Sentai, a tradition which still continues to this very day, with two separate franchises both going on at the same time. Adapting a show that's crazy to begin with, and then making an American-Japanese hodgepodge, taking the insanity of both cultures and putting them together, may seem like overkill, but no. It went over big. In fact, in its prime, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was so popular, it was like the successor to Ninja Turtles. And of course, that meant video games. Video games up the ass. It's so far up the ass, it would be impossible for me to play every one of them. So here's just a sampling of some of the Power Rangers games. And I'm counting on at least one of them to get my blood boiling. Let's start at the beginning. I have a couple Super Sentai games on the Famicom, keeping in mind this is the show that spawned Power Rangers. The first game, released in 1991, is Super Sentai Jetman. This is based on the 15th season of Super Sentai, basically before Power Rangers came into existence. You pick your character and then have to beat 5 stages in any order you like. It's a simple, mediocre side-scroller. The controls are smooth enough, and there's nothing too dumb here, except the pause button is select instead of start, which I'm used to. Start is the special move. Every time I try to pause the game, I end up wasting the special move. 2 of the characters use a sword, 2 of them use a gun, and the other does something different. It's like they tried giving all the characters unique attacks, but got only halfway before they ran out of time. And why wouldn't you pick the character with the long-range attack anyway? When one of them dies, you lose that character, sort of like Ninja Turtles on NES, but the levels are so short and easy. You're more likely to die on the boss, and in that case, you start the stage over anyway. The boss battles are the most awkward, frustrating parts of the game. It's like 2 toasters boxing. You just mash buttons, then block, then mash more buttons, hoping to land some hits. It does look cool, I'll give it that, but what's up with the jump punch? I am not a fan of jump punching. How do you expect to hit something like that? And why does one of the legs shrink? Like matching a frog's leg with an elephant's leg. Huh. Every now and then you can charge up for a special move, and that's where it's at. Yeah! The next game, released in '92, was based on Zyuranger, which was Super Sentai's 16th season, and the one which became the basis for the first season of Power Rangers. And listen here, it has the Zyuranger theme song. Zyuranger, Zyuranger, Densetsu no Senshi Tachi o Zyuranger! This game is more linear. You go through the stages in a set order. Each stage, you're a different ranger. Once again, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just run to the right and fight off enemies with a gun. Halfway through, you get a new weapon, but what kind of attack is that? You're just blindly swinging a knife around, like Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 2, the 1981 version of Halloween 2. What the hell? I have to say, I barely got through the first stage. With this platform jumping, spikes, and lousy short-range weapon, I almost gave up. But now, I'm at the boss, and I almost got it. Alright! Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to succeed, but if you keep trying... What just happened? No, that wasn't real. So I beat the first stage, again, and sure enough, it drastically switches, as if you're suddenly playing a different game. A game called Megazord and Dragonzord Play Ping Pong! It's Megazord and Dragonzord playing ping pong! Oh my god. Imagine if when the new Godzilla vs. King Kong movie comes out, if it's just them playing ping pong. Yeah, King Kong plays ping pong! And then fucking Forrest Gump shows up! Would you be disappointed? Or would it be the most historically amazing thing you've ever witnessed? As you progress through the game, you take control of the different Ranger characters, and surprisingly, it gets much easier. Probably because the other weapons are so much better. I can't think of any other game where all the difficulty is in the first stage and then it goes downhill. Is that the Blue Ranger or Mega Man? In between each stage, there's these weird mini-games, like ping pong, as I mentioned. Also, there's a bomb toss game, which is basically hot potato, except its hot bomb blows up in your face. Then there's a trivia game. Unfortunately, I can't read Japanese, so I'll just pretend I got it right. But anyway, the password system is perhaps one of the strangest I've ever seen. It's 3 images of a ranger, each with 3 selectable poses. So it's not really a password, it's more like a pass pose. And if you try different combinations, you have a good chance of guessing. Unlike the show, there was no American adaptation of this game for the NES. There was an unofficial cartridge that changed the title to Power Rangers, but the only difference is the label and the title screen, which glitches like crazy. But could you imagine if there was a Power Rangers NES game that took stages from the Japanese game and added American stages, just like they did with the show? To simulate this experience, just play something else like Family Feud, and then switch it to Super Sentai Zyuranger. Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much mileage you can get from using stock footage. You know what? To get through this video, I might as well just use stock clips from past nerd episodes.
Ass! Fuck!
The Famicom games are mediocre, but not terrible. So let's step into 16-bit territory. Next up, Power Rangers on Super Nintendo. Well, hot damn, it has the theme song, and it sounds pretty good. It even has vocals. You can select anybody from the initial Ranger lineup. Each one of them has their own fighting style, their own special moves, which actually makes it fun to try out all the different characters. It's just an average beat-em-up game. All you do is run around and punch people, and it can get monotonous, but for the time period, it's good, like Robin Hood. You start out in your regular clothes, then you power up in the Ranger suit. The only thing they slacked on was the Rangers all have the same exact body type, which is surreal to see Trini, for example, turn from thin to muscular. Each Ranger has their unique weapon and a grand sweeping power move that wipes out everybody on screen. Yeah! But the game fights you back on it eventually with a giant laser that comes out of nowhere. Ah, it's just like a giant middle finger saying, "Fuck you!" I hate this thing. Oh wait, it kills enemies too? Now I like it. And you power up your health with chicken legs. Save some for Simon Belmont. It ends with a Megazord battle, which is clunky and only a slight improvement over the battles in the Famicom game, but it looks great. For the time, this was very satisfactory. It was just like playing an episode of the show. Nothing much to get angry about here. There's another one on Super Nintendo, Power Rangers The Movie The Game, featuring Ivan Ooze. Remember that, because otherwise it has nothing to do with the movie. It's another beat 'em up, but there's this weird jumping thing you do to alternate between the background and foreground plane, like you have two separate two-dimensional planes that you walk on. Couldn't they just take a hint from all the other beat 'em up games? But the big problem with this, it's way too hard. I had no problem finishing the other game, so why here can't I get through the first stage? Let's check out Power Rangers on Sega Genesis. Okay, so it's a Street Fighter style game. A shitty one that uses only 2 of the buttons. Yoga Fire! The problem here, once again, is the difficulty. The game just punishes you over and over again. It forces you into using cheap moves. Yeah, I'll just keep spinning around. How do you like that? There's not much to say here. Back in the day, if you had nothing better to do, this wouldn't be so bad. But now, it's just like finding an old dried turd on a playground. Just forget about it. It no longer smells, it's not hurting anybody, it doesn't need to be tended to. Just walk away. Then there's the Sega CD game. Well, if you felt like watching the show in shit quality with a bunch of button commands on screen, then this is the game for you. It's trying to be like the Dragon's Lair arcade or one of those type of games. But in Dragon's Lair, if you fail to press the button at the right time, you see a different outcome. A different video is loaded to show the character dying or whatever. Here, no matter what you do, the episode continues to play normally. You'd think if you missed a button, the Power Rangers would get hit or something. They actually do get hit sometimes, but that happens either way. Whether or not it syncs up with what you're doing is pure coincidence. All they did was take the show and put a little button game on top of it. This is the cheapest way possible to turn a show into a game. That would be like watching an episode of Green Acres with button commands. What sense does that make? Want to play Power Rangers on Sega CD? Just watch the show while playing Simon Says. At least it's not Simon's Quest. Alright, let's crank up that diarrhea dial. Here's Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on Nintendo 64.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh. Okay, first of all, I'm not trying to be vulgar, but what does that look like? You shoot laser projectiles out your vagina! Yeah, I had to double check that it was the Yellow Ranger because it looks more like the mustard shit-stained Ranger. The objective is to clean up green slime. Nice, that's appealing. I thought Superman had it bad having to go around flying through rings all day. The Power Rangers have to clean up nasty mucus. At least there's enemies to fight, but even that is boring. All you do is run and shoot. Most of the buttons do nothing. There's no jump, no crouch, no sidestep, nothing like that. This is a game that was designed to be played on an Atari controller. You can even run through enemies. Yeah, mow them down! Oh look, they're coming out of the walls. It's like the Twilight Zone. And when you run behind the buildings, they vanish from reality. But not completely. They become a shadow of their former existence. Yeah, ever have that happen? Happens to my house all the time. It's a very spacious game. There's no hallways or boundaries to guide you around. If you run in any direction, it'll be minutes before something eventually blocks your path. How far do these boundaries go? I just keep running and running and running and running. And for whatever reason, they didn't know how to loop the music, so instead it abruptly stops and starts up again. It's a very jarring shift in tone, not to mention it's the same music the entire game. Oh, except the title screen, which is repeated for the cutscenes and all that, so only 2 music tracks total. After that, you get this awkward driving stage where you rescue people.
Over here! Alright!
Love hearing those voices over and over again.
Over here! Alright! Over here! Alright!
Over here! Alright! Over here! Alright! Over here! Alright! Over here! Alright! Next, there's an awkward Megazord fight where you battle against a semi-invisible monster. It's all in first-person view, except when you manage to get close, it switches to third person. But it's hard to stay close, so it always switches back and forth. Ugh, it's morphine time. I need some morphine. Then you get these flying stages. Again, the goal is to rescue people. Not much to say. Overall, there's only 4 types of stages, at least from what I've seen, and the problem with this game is that it's too simple. N64 was capable of a lot more. It's bad, but in a boring way. I've seen worse. See, my standards are much lower. It's not making obnoxious screeching sounds. You don't die in one hit and have to start the whole thing over. It doesn't glitch so bad you can't play it. You don't have to drive a bus for 8 hours. It's not bright red and you have to hold it up to your eyes. It's actually like a game, just a real boring one. So, I don't know. I'm not really feeling the anger too much with this one. I wasn't going to stoop this low, but let's try out the Game Boy versions. So here's Power Rangers on Game Boy. Well, it's basically the same thing as the Super Nintendo version, so I'm not really going to pick it apart. And what's the point? Of course it's going to be worse on Game Boy. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of great exclusive games on Game Boy, like Link's Awakening for example. The key word here is exclusive. I need to find something that isn't trying to be like the Super Nintendo version. Something different. But okay, that's weird. That's the most confusing continue screen I've ever seen. So I punched the word no away. So that mean I picked yes because no got punched away? Or does that mean that the word I punched is the word Yeah, I picked no. Fuck. Okay, so let's try out Power Rangers the movie, the Game Boy game. Alright, this one is different. An exclusive game, but is it exclusively bad? Well, let me ask, if this follows the movie, the Yellow Ranger would be Aisha, not Trini, which means they got the skin color wrong. But it is Game Boy, and the only reason I even know it's the Yellow Ranger is because these games were optimized for the Super Game Boy with their own color design and border graphics. Otherwise, take a look at the Rangers. Which one's your favorite? The dark green, dark green, dark green, dark green, dark green, or dark green Ranger? Mine's the dark green Ranger. The gameplay is pretty much the same as most of the side-scrolling Ranger games. You choose a Ranger, choose a stage, take out enemies, move to the right, get in the Ranger suit, fight a boss, and so on. But the shit factor skyrockets when you get an ass full of bad hit detection, unresponsive jumping, awkward jump punching, cheap boss battles, and randomly changing rules. Let me explain here. There's a stage where you get in a minecart, or stand on top of it. Classic. Imagine this Ranger doing his grocery shopping. Does he stand on the shopping cart? Let me know if you ever see anybody doing that. Anyway, when you're standing on the cart, the D-pad controls the cart's movement from left to right, but as soon as another cart shows up, it changes. Now the D-pad makes you walk off the cart, which results instantly in death. I fell 2 feet from the ground. How do you die? Couldn't it just take a little bit of health away? Why does it have to kill you? You're supposed to jump to the second cart, which requires precision, timing, and distance. Naturally, you're going to push right while you're jumping, but pushing right will make you walk off the cart and die. Your sudden instincts make you want to control the cart to get to the correct distance. You're so used to controlling the cart, it comes unexpected when all of a sudden you walk off and die. If you're still touching the D-pad when that second cart shows up, you die. If you let the carts touch, you die. Jump too soon, you die. Jump too late, you die. You fucking die, and now you know the type of anger I'm talking about. Hey, name one game where the punch and kick alternates back and forth automatically. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie on Game Boy. When you hit the button, it's a punch. Hit it again, it's a kick. Then it's a punch, a kick, a punch, a kick. You try to attack, but you end up doing the wrong move. You'll never know if it's going to be a punch or a kick, unless you keep track the whole time. This problem escalates when you get to the sand. Oh God, the sand. Let me tell you about this. You have to punch and kick all the sand out of the way. And it's a race against time because there's a machine following close behind you. If it touches you, it's a one-hit death. You have to get rid of that sand as fast as humanly possible. You can't afford any wasted hits, which means you have to master the science behind this punch-kick phenomenon. The top square can only be taken out with a punch, the middle with a kick or a ducking punch, the bottom only with a ducking kick. So not only do you have to know when it's going to be a punch or a kick, but you also have to know when to be standing or ducking. The only successful pattern I've found is duck, stand, duck, duck, stand. I can't even do it without saying it out loud. Duck, stand, duck, duck, stand. Duck, stand, duck, duck, stand. Fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Fuck!
Ooh! Now I'm angry! Now that's what I'm talking about! You fucking game! Is that the way you like it? That's the way you're gonna get it!
Today we have the NES game, The Incredible Crash Dummies, based on the cartoon, based on the toys, based on the public service announcements. Yeah, it may be hard to believe, but in the late 80s, early 90s, this was a big franchise. And for a very brief period of time, I was into them as much as Ninja Turtles. Yeah. It began with the public service announcements, or PSAs, which seemed to be all over the TV at the time. When you sit down and watch cartoons on Saturday morning, you'd also get to see Pee Wee Herman telling you not to do crack.
This is crack.
Dude. Pee Wee Herman is holding crack! And when Pee Wee is serious, it's scary. Most kids at that age didn't even know what drugs were. I have a friend who learned about marijuana from the Ninja Turtles PSA. No joke. Can you imagine that conversation? What's a marijuana, Mom? Where'd you hear that, son? Oh, from the Ninja Turtles? And with that, he was never allowed to watch Ninja Turtles again. True story. Sometimes PSAs were actually part of the show, like at the end of G.I. Joe. You just watch 20 minutes of guys shooting lasers and missiles at each other, and then one of these assholes starts going off about good sportsmanship, not playing on thin ice, or how to escape a house fire that you also caused. So some cartoons had PSAs, but one PSA became a cartoon. The Incredible Crash Dummies, Vince and Larry. These characters were created by the National Highway Safety Administration to resemble real crash test dummies, the ones used by vehicle manufacturers to test what would happen if someone were in an accident. But the Incredible Crash Dummies were the spokesperson versions who would say, "Don't be a dummy, buckle your seatbelts." It was a reasonable safety message. Of course, everyone should buckle their seatbelts. But then the dollar signs kicked in and the toy line started.
It's the Incredible Crash Dummies! I feel like a wreck. Free! When dummies get behind the wheel, it's their job to crash.
I just love going to pieces.
The Incredible Crash Dummies! Each car comes with special dummies.
Now, that was a pretty lame cash grab, but I gotta admit, I loved these toys as a kid. I used to get out the Sears catalogs and circle them for my Christmas wish lists. Now, why were they so awesome? Well, what other toy can you think of where the whole point is to break them? The dummies' heads and limbs pop off, and then you can put them in a car and set up an epic stunt scene. Ooh, that was pretty damn cathartic, man. And then you get to put them all back together and do it again. Oh, look at that! The only downfall, after every crash, you're bound to lose pieces behind furniture and in every corner. I'm going to be finding crash dummy limbs in this room for years to come. When you're sitting there with your friends and they're playing with their Power Rangers or whatever, you're sitting here ramming this fucking car like a maniac, and you look like a crazy person. One time, a friend said to me, "Hey, my parents won't let me play with these." I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Because they make kids think that crashing cars is cool." And that's when I realized these things were a bit controversial. But I knew they were just for fun. I've been in a real accident twice, and it's very different and not fun at all. But these were just dummies, not real humans. Oh wait, there's a dog and a cat? Come on, you don't kill the pets! And there's a baby character called Skid the Kid? Okay, I take it back. These things were pretty fucked up. What were they thinking? And who needs the cars? Let's cut straight to the chase. Just sit them in a chair to launch them directly into a fucking wall. Bam! Bam! Let's see that again. Ooh, brutal! Or if that's not enough, how about put them in the crash cannon? Yeah, when would you ever see a crash test dummy inside a fucking cannon? Just to make sure it's safe for human launching. Here we go. Whoa! Oh, fuck. Or even better, the torture rack. Don't be a dummy. Buckle your seatbelt while you're living out your masochistic fantasies. Oh, fuck. Or that'll happen. You can also run over a skunk, which would make it a road-killed skunk that I'd rather eat the rotten asshole out of. Anyway, as they expanded out into other media like cartoons, they eventually made their way to video games like the Commodore 64 version. Let's try this out.
Oh, wait. That's not a game. It's the band. Okay. Alright, no more dicking around. Let's get to the game. Now, there's one thing about this game that you should probably know, and I bet you guessed already, because I've been holding my finger over this spot here for a reason. You know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pull my finger away, there's gonna be some dramatic music, and, well, should I just do it? I'm gonna do it. Oh!
Once there was this nerd who got incredible crash dummies on the NES, but when he saw that logo, he knew the game would be extra shitty. He said he'd rather smash his own nutsack with a crowbar.
So, it's what you'd expect from good old LJN, and this game came out in '93. By that time, most people were playing Super Nintendo and Genesis, and even the PlayStation came out the next year in Japan. You'd think by now, these laughin', jokin' numbnuts would have given us something halfway decent. But no, it was their trademark, their seal of shit. They make shitty games. That's what they do. They're proud of it. Like a muskox marking its territory during mating season. Their hair gets soaked in their own piss, which gives them their own distinct and profound smell. Even Nintendo Power said it has that distinct LJN feel. They just didn't elaborate on the muskox piss ritual. So anyway, if you play an LJN game, you know what you're getting into. In fact, the real test dummies were us. Because when gamers sat down the couch to play this abomination, it was like strapping yourself into the driving seat of a horrendous, putrid, tragic piece of shit game which is on a one-way course to fucking disaster. It takes place in a dystopian post-apocalyptic world where car crashes have caused the entire human race to go extinct. A group of sentient crash test dummies spend their days trying to create the safest vehicle for the next wave of dominant organic life forms. Nah, the real plot is way more boring than that. You play as the incredible crash dumbasses Slick and Spin. Your mission is to fight against the evil Junkman to save your friends Spare Tire and Daryl. I don't get Daryl. All the other characters have some dumb car pun name like Slick, Spin, Spare Tire, or Lube Job. So Junkman has taken Spare Tire and Daryl, and it's obvious it was no accident. Get it? It was no accident. Pretty funny, huh? Accident like a car accident. Yeah, that's pretty damn hilarious. Even the instruction manual has a page of dad jokes. Look at these knee slappers. What's the one thing a person who doesn't use safety belts will never see? Old age. Wow, that's grim. Here's another one. What's the first thing that goes through your head when you find yourself in an accident without your safety belt buckled? The windshield. Damn! Now, it's one thing in a PSA to shock people to teach them how serious it is, but here, they treat traffic safety like it's a fucking joke. I mean, scientists used actual crash test dummies to make safer cars. Coupled with the PSAs, new traffic laws, airbags, deaths from car crashes dropped dramatically since the 70s. And these shitheads cram more car crash jokes into their game than I cram shit jokes into a script. Well, let's travel down the old Hershey Highway to Schittsburg. Buckle up, buckaroos. The graphics are abysmal. Literally, most of the levels are made up of random platforms drawn into a dark abyss. The instruction manual has more color in it than this game does. It's often hard to tell what parts are in the background and what parts are actually in your way. Everything is just flat and lifeless. The character animation looks really stupid. Everyone walks like they're holding in a huge shit. You know, like when you have to go so bad, it feels like the poop's pressing into your pelvic bone. The game itself is pretty straightforward. You play as Spin, who's always on a unicycle, and Slick, who just walks. I much prefer playing as Slick. His levels are a lot easier because he doesn't slide all over the place like Spin, which is funny because you figure the guy named Slick would be slipping all over the place. But Spin controls like Sonic the Hedgehog, but coated in anal lube. The first time you play as Slick is in the second level, the sewers. So at least they get the obligatory sewer level out of the way quickly. It's another mucus-filled sewer like in Dennis the Menace. Does anybody in video games take a normal, healthy brown shit? Like, what's with all this green Boogerman bullshit? Each dummy has a short-range attack that stuns enemies. The manual says it's an exhaust gun, so you're pretty much blasting carbon monoxide into the faces of your enemies, and they're choking on engine fumes. You can also pick up oil cans for a long-range ammo and arms that turn you into a spinning dummy of death. You can collect traffic cones, which give you an extra life when you collect 50 of them, balloons, which make you all floaty when you jump. Steering wheels are kind of like the invincibility stars in Mario. Extra heads fill your life meter, and the worst item in the goddamn game is rockets. The rockets send you flying all over the place and are pretty much a death sentence later in the game. Just look at this right here. I'm trying as hard as I can to control this dickhead dummy, and he just does whatever he feels like.
The sad thing is, the game is almost decent. It has some pretty good music composed by Tim and Jeff Fallen, the composers of Silver Surfer on NES, which I have on vinyl! No joke.
Okay, so the first shitty mechanic is hitting certain enemies that can cause you to fly back and explode. And I really mean fly back, because you don't stop until you hit a solid wall. This was the very first thing that happened to me when I started playing. It's a huge pain in the ass and makes you feel like an idiot when it happens, like you should know better. It just happens again and again, over and over. While that's annoying, the worst game mechanic is losing your head. Literally losing your head. This happens when either a bomb blows up near you or you smash into a wall while going too fast. This sucks ass because it reverses the controls, and they don't go back to normal until you find a spare head. Sometimes you can find the spare heads easily, and other times you might spend most of the level in reversed mode. I end up getting used to the backward controls. And not to mention, the second you pick up the spare head, the controls immediately change back. You'll do an about face into an enemy's asshole or off a goddamn cliff. And for shit's sake, don't ever get the rocket while headless. You finally reach this annoying puzzle where you have to flip switches as Spin. Make a mistake or take too long, and you have to start the sequence over and over. The problem is the little bounce Spin does when he lands from a jump. It messes with my timing, and I start scrambling. The next level is the docks. It looks like a shitty version of the airship level in Mario 3, but it's completely fucked. It's a triple-decker of platforms and long paths. Seagulls drop bombs that take your head off, so you're going to be battling the backwards controls, plus an endless supply of enemies and pitfalls. It's merciless. Next up is this boss with a peg leg that pegs you with steering wheels. And wait, I thought the steering wheels were an item that made you invincible. Damn liars. Eventually, the boss commits suicide, and you save Daryl, who looks exactly the same as you. Seriously, they just did a recolor.
Wow, this game sure cuts a lot of corners. Yeah, you get it? Pretty fucking funny, huh?
The Car Wreckers level, which introduces enemies who have decoy traffic cone pickups. As much as I hate to admit it, this tricked me pretty good the first time. I wasn't even mad. It's a good trick. But of course, it's one of those enemies that launches you back too. The level is a maze with a ton of cheap repeating beginner's traps. Next, the junkyard. This level can suck my tailpipe. It's filled with fast-flying bombs that take your head off. They're all over these spike pits, too. Trying to get to the top and jump over the barrier is a fucking chore. Just look at this shit. I'm flying all over the place. Fantastic. An underground area, filled with pits and enemies that, of course, send you flying back. They made sure to incorporate all the most annoying aspects of this game into the final level. The final boss fight is Junkman. You have to dodge his tire gun and shoot him a few times to stun him. Then make your way to a switch at the top of the stage to lift up and drop a weight on him. It's kind of fun, and it's at least better than the other boss fights. Once you beat him, Spin stands over the corpse of Junkman and says, "What's the matter, Junkman? Did your mom drop you on your head?" Okay. Then you launch your friend through a wall, make a final shitty joke, and that's it. Overall, Crash Test Dummies is just another turd on the LJN shit mound. And since it was based on a PSA, I guess it would be the same as making a game based on an airline safety pamphlet. Pretty dumb idea for a game based on dummies, and the song by Crash Test Dummies was in the movie Dumb and Dumber, which also had the song Crash by the Primitives. Crash Test Dumb and Dumber Dummies. There must be a connection. In the movie, there's a headless parrot, just like the headless dummy in the game. And what's the goal? The direction? The meaning of the whole trip? They go to Aspen. 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 That's the direction, the meaning of the whole thing. The game is ass. And when Lloyd gives Harry the laxative so he takes a massive diarrhea dump in a toilet that won't flush, that's the same as LJN giving us the ultimate laxative. This game, the diarrhea, represents the traumatic experience of playing the game, and the broken toilet is your broken childhood, forever filled with shit. But now, it's time to crash this game.
This time, we're not going to go too far back into the past, only to 2003 with a PC game called Big Rigs Over-the-Road Racing. I usually stick to consoles, and I don't usually do games from the current millennium, but this is a huge request. I've been told countless times that it's one of the worst, if not the worst game ever made, but I'm sure that's an exaggeration. It just looks like a generic, mediocre racing game with trucks. And it's from the new millennium, well after the pioneering days of gaming, after the ETs and Jekyll and Hydes, after the advent of quality control. So how bad could it be? Let's find out. Alright, let me grab the mouse here. Okay, pick the truck. Yeah, that's fine. Pick the course. Alright, loading. And the race begins. Here. This is awesome! Well, look at this, look at me, go! Oh, yeah, your truck passes through everything! I haven't found one thing that stops you, not even the hills slow you down. This is one hell of a truck. It's invincible! How could you not love a game where there's no rules? I'm not even trying to play the race, I'm just trying to find as many things to drive through as possible. You're a ghost trucker. Are you Large Marge? The only thing I can sort of hit is a downed helicopter. Up we go again. Big Rigs Over-the-Road Racing. Over the road is right. It's my way or the highway, and the highway ain't got shit. Oh my god. Look at this. You can go almost at a 90-degree slope. In fact, the slopes seem to make you go even faster. Yes, the truck is giving gravity the middle finger and actually accelerating up the hill. Nothing inhibits your control. You can slow down to a dead stop and then go backwards as you please. The truck just hangs out wherever it wants. It clings to the mountains like Spider-Man. That didn't happen. Oh, there it is! I need to see that again. Oh my god. What happens if I turn? I'm under the bridge. And the bridge is levitating. And the ground is going apeshit. And I just realized there's no water. As if the river dried up. Is this glitchy stuff supposed to be the water? It's as if the water is trying to exist, but can't. I'm not trying to find glitches. It just so happens the whole game is a glitch. Look at this picture here. The hill turned into nothing. The taillights are flying off the truck, and the bridge is hovering over thin air. The support beams are so close to touching the ground, but don't. The fuck was that? Oh, by the way, that's the computer opponent who is still at the start line. Never moved. I'm literally running circles around him. You know, I kind of forgot I was in a race here. That is the purpose of the game. It doesn't matter which stage you're playing. The opponent always stalls at the start line and never moves an inch. You can spend the whole time driving through buildings, over mountains, and under bridges and still win the race. What kind of challenge is that? Have you ever heard of a video game where you can't lose? How did the programmers forget to make the trucks move? Let's see if I can merge the trucks into one. Here we go. Yeah, that's some fine work. All right, let's go in reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, the truck has left the game. The game is so fucking bad they programmed a way to escape it. And it's not a secret trick or anything like that. All you have to do is keep driving in one direction, and soon enough, you're in limbo. But wait. Let me comprehend one thing at a time here, alright? First of all, why does the truck go faster in reverse than it does going forward? It seems like it accelerates infinitely. How many times have I rolled the speedometer over? I must be going 1,000 miles per hour right now. In reverse! In a big-ass truck! I'm so far away, I can't even find my way back to the game. I've never been this far outside the boundaries of a video game. How do they let you do that? Even in the shittiest games I've ever played, even they stop you when you reach the gray wall of nothing. Even LJN games don't do this shit. This is the most unstable game I have ever played in my life. And would you believe that the copy I own is a more recent version of the game? Yeah, the version that most people have played is commonly found on the internet and is even less functional. In this version, one of the stages doesn't even work. If you try to pick this stage, it crashes the whole game. Not that it's any loss, it looks the same as any other stage. The truck you're racing against doesn't do anything different. It still sits there, waits for you to lap it and cross the finish line. Here we go. Oh, no. No. Oh, no. No. Your winner is the kind of stuff that turns horrible games into legends. It's the cherry on top of the diarrhea shake. It's already been a popular internet meme for many years, but in the packaged version of the game that I own, it's been corrected to you win. Disappointing, I know. But there's at least one other version of this game, a newer one, version 3 as far as my knowledge goes. But anyway, this one has a major advancement, really big. Check this out. The other truck moves. Wow. No shit. It's like we're actually having a race here. I'm gonna let him win just so we can see what happens. I hope it says you're a lose or something like that. Here we go. What happened? happened? How did I win? Apparently, the other truck driver just decided to stop a little short. In other words, you can't lose. Why'd they bother to release a new version if they didn't even fix the most basic thing? But hey, the truck moves, so maybe this enhancement pushes the game into the pre-alpha stage? At best. These monumental blunders distract from all the regular flaws that would already be enough to fill any shitty game. Most of the stages look similar, there's little variety, there are no sound effects other than the engine of the truck, the taillights are fixated on the back of the trailer doors and they look like somebody made them in Photoshop with the basic brush tool. Want me to prove it? There you go. The street is always breaking up like the glitch gremlin paved over it. Certain light posts are given strange colors that stick out from the rest of the game. The Arc de Triomphe appears twice in a row in a geographically inaccurate area. Trucks are referred to as cars. The ultra nav points you get from crossing checkpoints don't always go in order. I mean, what the fuck is ultra nav anyway? The timer goes outside the box. And on top of all that, the box that the game comes in is a complete lie. Never do the police chase after you. Maybe if that was just the front artwork, that would be excusable, but the back says you'll be hauling loads and trying to stay one step ahead of the law. Deliver your load to its destination. What are they talking about? That never happens. Oh, no, I stand corrected. This game delivers a load all right. Load of fucking shit! I'll deliver a load all over this fucking game! It's not even a game. It doesn't count as a game. If it were a game, you could lose. But you can't. It's nothing but win. You're a winner. It's like the game feels sorry for you. This is not even close to a finished game. If you can call it a game. It's the worst game ever made. And I've played a lot. What is this, episode 118? So that is a big statement, but I'm dead fucking serious. It isn't as frustrating as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No, it's not as bad an experience as that, but in terms of functionality, this is an all-time low. You can't release something that's not finished. Who looked at this? I mean, who looked at this and thought, yeah, that's okay, put that out? There's credits, which suggest that actual human beings were behind this. More than one. What were they thinking? Why would anyone want their name on this thing? And did any single one of them look at this and think, maybe there's still some work left to do? By the year 2003, wouldn't there have been some kind of quality control? Even the worst games from the 70s had some playability. I would have assumed that Big Rigs was just some test game, some kind of demo that a college student made, not an actual game that got sold in stores. It couldn't have been sold in stores. But apparently it did. This is the box. It came in a box, and it was rated by the ESRB. Somebody from the ESRB looked at this game and gave it a rating. I know it's not their job to judge the quality of the game, but somebody looked at it and thought, wow, this is shit. But imagine buying this game thinking it's going to be a cool racing game, then you bring it home and play it, and you get this. It's like a cruel prank. They should have recalled this game and gave out refunds. Imagine advertising this sort of thing. Imagine putting a commercial on TV for this shitload of fuck. I wonder what it would have been like.
In the mid-90s and early 2000s, Tomb Raider was one of the biggest game franchises. Every year we got a new Tomb Raider game. I can see why people liked it. It revolutionized 3D platforming the same way Super Mario 64 did. The puzzles were fun, the settings were cool, the music was atmospheric, and the action was top-notch for the time. Seemed like the only thing bigger than the games was its star, Lara Croft. Lara Croft was basically Indiana Jones for the 90s. You thought Indy was badass? Lara goes from fighting wolves and dinosaurs to mummies and eventually skinless Atlantean demons straight from a Clive Barker movie. Oh, and bats. She also fights bats. Can't forget those. Lara Croft's popularity took the world by storm. She was the first female game protagonist to get this kind of attention. Her fame transcended the games, and she ended up being on the cover of magazines and even the spokesperson for products. I'm not kidding. She was in car commercials, soda commercials, and an ad for Visa. Seems like the world was obsessed with Lara Croft. Even in the early episodes, when I always had that Zelda poster, on the other side, Lara was here all along. I'm not sure why everyone was into Lara Croft, but I can guess a couple of reasons. These days, she still appears in games and even had a few movies based off her. Her fame might not be as big as it was back then, but it's clear she will still be kicking ass in video games for a long time. But they can't all be hits, and that's why I'm gonna go on a journey to find the worst Tomb Raider games ever made. Now you gotta pack, because when you're dealing with shitty games, you gotta really be prepared for these. Because these games, who knows how bad they're gonna be. I mean, we might find some vile fucking crap here. So you gotta bring all the necessities here. So here's Tomb Raider Chronicles, the 5th in the series, but the first to fail critically and financially. The game opens with Lara's funeral. Yeah, that's right. The last game ended with her dying. The developers were tired of doing Tomb Raider and hoped the 4th game would be the end. Well, maybe if I killed off my character, I wouldn't have to review any more shitty games. Just kidding. Not yet. The game centers around a group of her friends sharing stories of her adventures. After that, we get a loading screen where I noticed something interesting. There's a credit for Timex. Yeah, Timex, the watch company. Where they make this game on a ZX Spectrum? Oh, here's why. It's an ad for a grip clip watch. Lara uses it in the game to keep track of her time and progress. So right away, this game just sells out with a product placement. It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad. The first story is about Lara trying to find the Philosopher's Stone in Rome. It starts off with a quick reminder of the basic controls and introduces new mechanics like parallel bar swinging and tightrope walking. Other than that, it's the same old thing. Everything looks and feels like the previous games, right down to Lara's outfit, although her shorts are see-through now for some reason. You go around, find keys, flip switches, and kill some gargoyles and a crazy squid thing that shoots lasers. You even get to fight a couple statues that look like Talos from Jason the Argonauts. It gets kind of confusing when gladiators show up. Are these gladiators left over from the Roman Empire? Have they just been hanging out down here for thousands of years? Or are they just employees at the Colosseum dressed as gladiators? I hope not, because you shoot the hell out of them. Damn, I hate to see Lara at a Renaissance fair. Chronicles is just a soulless rehash of the other games and a shameless advertisement for a watch no one remembers. I don't know what else to say about it, so I'll just quote one of the developers of the game. Tomb Raider 5 was effectively a load of old shit. That was the most depressing one for us. We were effectively just doing that for a paycheck because no other team wanted to take it on, so we had to do it, basically. By that time, it had taken its toll. 3 years of hammering it, and we were burnt out. That shows in the product. Oh my god. This might be the first time someone who made the game reviewed it for me. Huh. So here it is, the holy grail of shitty Tomb Raider games. Angel of Darkness. It was so bad, it killed the studio making it, and nearly killed the whole franchise. This was the first Tomb Raider game on the PS2. It was going to usher Lara Croft into a new age with a bigger, better adventure. There would be larger environments and more stuff to do. It would be a whole new game. Or it would have been if the development wasn't such a disaster. The problems start right at the beginning. The opening cutscene introduces Lara in a dark office where her associate gets killed by someone off screen. This is how you open your fun action-adventure game? By ripping off Clue? Compare this to the first game, which opens in an exotic location and has Lara murdering fucking wolves. But then Angel of Darkness starts off with a tutorial, and you better not fuck up, because if you die without saving, you start at the beginning. And I don't mean the beginning of the level, I mean the beginning of the whole game. No checkpoints, nothing, so get used to saving. Save after every puzzle, save after every enemy, and save after every jump. And the jumping. You would think, since this is PS2, the controls would be better than PS1. But you'd be wrong. They're extremely clunky, and that's the reason why you die so much. You know what would have been nice? A training section where I could practice these new controls without affecting the main game. You know, like the Croft Manor section in the old games. Oh, and this is one of those PS2 games where you have to use an older TV, because if it's on an HD TV, it's so dark you can't see anything unless you turn the brightness all the way up, black out your windows, and then shoot a rocket into the sun, covering the whole solar system in darkness. And then maybe you'll be able to see something. I'm not kidding. This one jump took me 20 to 30 minutes because I couldn't see there was a ledge to grab onto. I had to turn the brightness all the way up. Yeah, it's no wonder why they call this Angel of Darkness. You also notice some of this footage looks like it's in slow motion. I thought maybe it was some bullet time or Max Payne shit, but no, the game will randomly slow down. One part was entirely slow-mo, unless I was jumping. But even when it's running at the right speed, Laura still feels too slow. In fact, this entire game makes Laura weaker, and the reason for that was because originally it was supposed to have a progression system where you level up, so as the game goes on, you gain more abilities, but unfortunately, that got cut. Now you have to reach a certain point in the game to get a new ability. Climbing this wall will make you be able to climb longer. Moving this box will give you the ability to move 2 boxes. Kicking a huge metal drawbridge will give you the ability to open a small door. That doesn't even make any sense! The creators spent so much time figuring out how to make Laura's boobs jiggle, they forgot to make her fun to play. By the way, the camera in this game sucks. It constantly fucks you up and makes jumping difficult. At one point, the camera goes into Laura's head, and it's one of the most horrifying images I've seen. In the words of one of the people who made the game, the camera was just a complete pig. Yeah, that's one way to put it. One of the new things this game intended to introduce was stealth. I'm not sure why though. There's no penalty for not being stealthy. I could probably sneak up on some people, or I can just easily kill them. Why introduce stealth if it was going to be optional? I guess one of the new things introduced that kind of works is the dialogue trees. At least with this first one, your decision affects the game. Now we finally get to the Paris level, which was meant to be this big open world with many things to interact with, but unfortunately, it just turned into a big empty wasteland. Whatever was meant to be in the Paris level must have been big, because you can't go 5 feet without the game loading the next area. You turn into an alley, load. You walk up a staircase, load. You walk from one end of the street to another, load. Load, load, load! Too many fucking loads! There's a store you can go in when asking people how to get into a nightclub. You have one conversation and never go back to this place again. This was supposed to be a place that you'd come back to later in the game, but everything was removed except this one scene. Then there's the boxing match. It doesn't matter who you pick because the winner is totally random. Sometimes the game glitches and they don't fight at all. Just keep reloading until the person you picked wins. And what do you get out of this?
I bet all the cash in my pocket against your fancy gold watch that I can pick the best fighter.
A watch that you can sell? This? I don't need this lousy stinking Timex watch! So here's a weird thing I found. There's this guy in the park. You walk up to him and he just says the same thing over and over.
Leave me alone, I'm busy! Leave me alone, I'm busy!
Busy? Busy doing what? Staring at a wall? A guy standing in the park all by himself saying he's busy. He looks like the least busy person in the world. That's all he says. Turns out he's one of 2 people who help you get into the club. I talked to someone else first, so that triggers this guy to just say the same thing over and over.
Leave me alone, I'm busy!
Eventually, I got into the nightclub where I noticed 2 more glitches. While climbing the light fixtures, I randomly just started climbing onto thin air. Yeah, this kind of floating happens a couple times. I once even got stuck in the air, split in 2, and started phasing in and out of reality. The next glitch is more common. If you think you're about to die, it's faster to just pause and restart from your last save. But if you pause in the middle of Laura's death scream, you'll get this. It just drills on your ears. It's like you're going to be hearing that in your nightmares. Hey, have you noticed anything in these levels? I'm raiding apartments, churches, nightclubs. Shouldn't I be raiding tombs? I haven't seen a single tomb yet. I made it to a graveyard, but all they had were crypts. Instead, I have to go to the Louvre and kill some security guards. I'm not even sure if they're bad guys, but the game doesn't penalize me for killing them. Maybe Laura is just a violent murderer. Eventually, you go underground and actually find a tomb. Wow. It's broken up into 4 parts: earth, wind, water, and fire. This is the only part in the game so far that actually feels like Tomb Raider. And they still fuck it up. The water level has these spikes that come out of nowhere. After making a careful jump in the fire level, a rock will shoot you into the air, or you'll just die for no reason. In the wind level, I went to jump on a log and instead fell through it. Fuck! Tomb Raider games are known for secret areas, and I found one here, but it's not because I found a clue or scaled some wall or something. No, it's because the game glitched. Next, to go back to the Louvre, which is full of toxic gas. Laura needs to run to a cabinet and grab a gas mask, but the people she's killing along the way have gas masks. Why can't I just take theirs? Why are they overcomplicating this? Who the fuck is this guy? Why are they giving him so much attention? And why does he have the glaive from Kroll? Why am I playing as him? You know, they couldn't even get Lara Croft right. Why should I be excited about playing as this asshole? Believe it or not, his controls are clunkier than Laura's, and he's even less fun to play. Everything about him is lame. His hair, his soul patch, and his dumbass mind powers that let him see stuff around corners or in other rooms. I need to finish it. I need to finish the game!
Junior, let it go.
But I'm so close. I'm so close. I can finish it.
Nerd, let it go.
You're right. Fuck the shitty game. So, the whole story is, the game was rushed out, unfinished, it failed, and then Core Design, the company who originally made Tomb Raider, shut down. It was so bad that Paramount blamed it for Tomb Raider Cradle of Life's low box office. Oh, and have you ever noticed the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies aren't called Tomb Raider? They're officially called Lara Croft Tomb Raider and Lara Croft Tomb Raider The Cradle of Life. What a mouthful. Did they just read the movie poster out loud? Might be why it took 15 years to get another feature film, which was simply called Tomb Raider. Unless the real title was supposed to be Alicia Vikander is Lara Croft Tomb Raider March 16th, experience it in IMAX. But that's probably too much for a theater marquee, right? Anyway, it was the end of an era, but my journey leads to one last game. One almost forgotten, like the shit you took last month. The Nokia N-Gage. Nokia's attempt to mix a phone with a gaming system. These days, it's common to play a game on your phone, but back then, options were kinda limited, but Nokia was here to change that. They had a pretty impressive catalog, too. Stuff like Call of Duty, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and of course, Tomb Raider. Before we play the game, we have to put it in, right? No problem, let's just pop the back off the phone, then you pull out the battery. I hope no one tries to call me while I'm doing this. So then we insert the SD card, pop the battery back in, put the case back on, and we're ready. Well, it's Tomb Raider. That's what it is. It's a remake of the first game, only adjusted to fit onto the N-Gage. The animated cutscenes are removed and replaced with text over static images. They also got rid of the music. All you hear now is footsteps, gunshots, and enemies growling. I gotta admit, it's pretty impressive how they were able to fit the whole PS1 game onto a tiny SD card back then. It has all the same moves from the first game. One annoying difference is that when you press forward, Lara will keep running until you stop her or she hits something. It makes timing jumps real difficult. And the camera is mildly shitty. Early PlayStation games didn't have the best graphics, and they got even worse when you shrink them down. I'm not sure why they didn't just port one of the 2D Game Boy games instead. Well, it was an interesting experiment, but ultimately a failure. The N-Gage couldn't compete with the Game Boy Advance and eventually faded into obscurity. Oh shit!
Leave me alone, I'm busy.
If you've ever been to an arcade, you've probably played Capcom's premier brawler, Final Fight. It's a downright classic. Choosing your favorite character and then laying waste to the dregs of Metro City was a rite of passage for all those who had stepped into the hallowed halls of the local video arcade. While today, Capcom is more known for its overabundance of Street Fighter and Resident Evil sequels, back then, they were revolutionizing the beat-em-up genre. They took what Double Dragon and Renegade had started and sought to improve and innovate. While Bimmy and Jimmy were basically just palette swaps, Guy, Cody, and Hagar were three unique fighters with different movesets and styles. The gameplay was satisfying, the sound of the hits was bone-rattling, and the music was simply badass. Also, what other game lets you play as a hulking pro-wrestling mayor beating his own citizens into submission? The answer is Final Goddamn Fight. Of course, contrary to the name, it wasn't the final Fight. There were sequels and spin-offs out the ass. Many members of the Final Fight cast would even go on to become mainstays in the Street Fighter franchise. Guy and Cody appeared back in the Alpha series, along with Sodom and Rolento. Later on, others such as Andor, also known as Hugo, Poison, and Abigail would square up in the iconic Tournament Fighter. So what in the holy name of shit happened to Final Fight? Capcom jizzes out tons of Street Fighters and Resident Evils all the time, but why aren't we getting any new Final Fight games? Was it actually final? I mean, even Streets of Rage, a game that was meant to be a competitor to Final Fight, is actually still going strong with a fourth title just released. Well, here I have the two Final Fight games that any fan of Final Fight will tell you fuck the franchise into oblivion. They were released just over 6 years apart and were created by the same developer, Capcom USA, also known as Capcom Studio 8. So here we have Final Fight Revenge for the Sega Saturn and Final Fight Streetwise for PlayStation 2. We'll start with Final Fight Revenge. Now, you'll notice by the jewel case that this is a Japan-only release. So it comes in a regular CD jewel case instead of the gargantuan American Saturn case. The great thing about the Saturn is you don't need to mod it to play Japanese games. All you need is one of these things, an action replay. Now, I know the review is about Final Fight games, but bear with me a minute, I gotta talk about this graphic design. The box pissed me off so much I had to research fonts. The sticker on the actual cartridge itself is using Bauhaus MDBT, but the logo on the box is Arial Black, and on the bottom they use Algerian. But that's not all. When you turn this son of a bitch over, they commit the ultimate graphic design sin. They used motherfucking Comic Sans. At least it's not Papyrus. or Papyrus Sands.
Oh, make it stop! It's hideous! I don't even want to look at it anymore! I'd rather huff a doggy bag full of bison turds! And I'm talking M. Bison. Okay, let's play the game.
Final Fight Revenge is the only game in the series that's an actual tournament fighter, probably because it's real lousy. The game just has a stiff and almost unresponsive feel at times, especially compared to any of the Street Fighter games. Honestly, this one ranks down there with Street Fighter the movie, the game, and I'm talking the arcade version. That being said, the game is actually pretty cool if you're a fan of the Final Fight series. It's got most of the characters from the game, only missing a couple bosses and minor enemies. The graphics are colorful and vibrant, and the gameplay itself is interesting.
You're already dead.
It focuses less on the technical side and more on all-out brawling. Levels are littered with weapons you can pick up and use against your opponent, like guns, knives, pipes, and even bazookas. It took me a minute to figure out how to pick them up though. But with a little practice, I was actually kicking ass.
Now, I'm no expert when it comes to fighting games, but maybe that's what I enjoy about this. It's silly and fun while still offering a challenge. But you want to see some weird shit, don't you? Check this out.
The special moves are some of the weirdest I've seen in a fighting game. Even the ones that make sense are still really weird. Guy hits you with an explosion, then the perspective changes, and he whips shurikens at the opponent while they try to run away. I've never seen something like this before in a tournament fighter, where the perspective shifts to behind the player. It's used a lot, too. Rolento chases you down with a helicopter, and Eddie E turns into a police car and tries to run you down. Hagar's took me a good minute to figure out. I had no idea what the hell was happening at first. Hagar just hugs the air, and nothing happens. It turns out that it only works if your enemy does a jump kick towards you.
Like I said, I'm not an expert in fighting games. Sometimes I have trouble pulling off a Hadouken. But this is like 2 Hadoukens in a row, then kick, and your enemy has to be jump kicking. Oh, and don't get me started on Hagar's second special move, because you have to rotate the D-pad in a 360 motion twice! He might as well not even have a special.
The one special move that makes absolutely no sense to me is Poison's. She blows a kiss at you, which then causes a bunch of pictures to flash on the screen. They're all really suggestive photos of her, too. She's licking a popsicle, posing all sexy and shit. I don't get how this would hurt you. I mean, I understand shooting shurikens at someone or chasing them down in an attack helicopter, but how the fuck is blowing a kiss, then flashing sexy pictures supposed to hurt someone? Also, if you pull this attack off as the final blow, she dances on a stripper pole. Again, how does this hurt? You basically just battle your way through every fighter until you get to Belger or whatever, the final boss from the original Final Fight. Only this time, he stopped living and became a crazy mixed-up zombie. He can stretch out like Dhalsim and even lose limbs as you're fighting him. It's by far the weirdest thing up until this point. That is, until the credits, when he does the fucking Thriller dance. Yeah.
So that's Final Fight Revenge. Overall, it makes my bowels bubble. I mean, not spray diarrhea or anything like that, just, wet fart. This game's pretty rare and fetches a pretty high price, and it's honestly just not worth it to me. You'd either have to be a Final Fight mega fan to pay money for this, or be somebody who's addicted to buying shit and have no concept in the value of money. You'd have to be a total loser. Thanks, Matt McMuscles, for sending me your copy.
Here we go. Time for Final Fight Streetwise, the final nail in Final Fight's coffin. Finally. So, here's a question for you. Did you ever drink a bunch of blue Powerade and then take a bright green shit? If so, that's basically this game's entire color palette. Everywhere you look are shades of shit, barf, and piss. Everything is covered in a dense fog like somebody wiped their ass all over the camera lens. I honestly can't tell if you're supposed to be in Metro City or Purgatory. It reminds me of Spawn the Eternal for the PlayStation, and doesn't really look that much better. And mind you, this game came out in 2006. That's right. Take a long look at this and realize this game came out the same year the PS3 debuted. The gameplay is a mixture of running around aimlessly, mashing buttons, and trying to suppress the burning urge to turn the PS2 off and chuck it through your neighbor's window. You play as a guy named Kyle, who's the roided-up douchebag brother of Cody from the original Final Fight. Pretty much what happens is your brother Cody gets kidnapped by a guy named The Stiff, and you have to get him back. On the way, you have to complete fetch quests and play a bunch of stupid mini-games. These offer you money, which you can use to buy new moves, but all they really do is grind the game to a halt. You can play the world's most boring game of darts, 3-card Monty, and even a shooting gallery with rubber ducks that make chicken noises for some reason. One of the most frequent minigames is destroying cars. This is kind of like an homage to the minigame in the original Final Fight and Street Fighter 2, but it happens a lot.
What's wrong with these people? I mean, imagine walking down the street and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I'll give you $200 to destroy this person's car. That'd be pretty awesome, actually.
The game tries insanely hard to be edgy at every possible second. There's a sign here for Blue Ball Video. Come get some. Oh man, if I played this back when I was 15, I'm sure I'd have given that a chuckle. But I've matured since then and moved on to shit jokes. Also, check out this billboard for Slipknot. It's kind of random, but fucking awesome. The game is filled with sexual references that aged like fine heavy cream behind a radiator, especially when you get to the porn theater. I tried running around punching the dudes sitting in the theater, but it didn't work, unfortunately. Imagine that, watching a porn movie with your half-chub and a dude runs over and clocks you in the fucking jaw. Uncool, man. Another weird thing about this theater is the music. It was driving me insane because I could have sworn I heard it somewhere. Then I realized it's all made with Apple GarageBand music loops. Just listen. Also, when you interrogate the boss here, the music is the same as the ending theme to America's Court with Judge Kevin Ross.
Have it your way.
Don't ask me how I know that. The game boils down to run here, talk to that guy, run there, fight that guy, run back here, talk to and fight that guy, and then fight a boss, rinse and repeat. It's monotonous and gives me some serious Life of Black Tiger vibes. Eventually, you start fighting zombies or some shit and get to meet up with former mayor Mike Hagar like 3 hours into the game, which is cool, I guess.
Honestly, if it weren't for him showing up, I think I would have forgotten I was playing a Final Fight game. I can see why this was the final Fight.
So here I'm going to help this cop find some gun runners or some shit. I find the first guy, give him a good stabbing, and the game crashed.
Whatever. I'll just reset and load my game. It didn't autosave? Silly me. I mean, why would I assume that? I mean, a game that came out in 2006 when Xbox 360, Wii, and PS3 were all already out. I mean, why would I assume that this game would autosave? Excuse me for just 1 minute. Hello?
Hey, is this the angry video game nerd?
Yeah, who the fuck is this?
Matt McMuscles.
I didn't order any muscles. Who is this?
The guy you stole Final Fight Revenge from in Portland?
You mean borrowed Final Fight Revenge from in Portland?
Agree to disagree. So, judging by the shifting tectonic activity in my area and the loud echoing of fuck we heard throughout Canada, I'm guessing you assumed Final Fight Streetwise would not lie to you about its save feature. Not only does it not autosave, it only saves after certain missions have been finished. It's a whole stupid thing. You lost all your progress, right?
Sure did. Wow, Matt, you hit the nail on the head. If only I knew some Magnum Dong loser who played this game an ungodly amount of times and could fill me in on anything I missed that would be worth mentioning.
Well, lucky for you, I'm a Magnum Dong loser. Let me break it down for you. After meeting up with Mayor Mustache and killing the Stiff, Kyle eventually finds his way to Guy, who is now the crime boss who runs Metro City's Japantown. He sicks a crazy tattoo artist on you, whose ass you kick, and then everyone just becomes friends. Meanwhile, other criminals from Italian Town decide to burn down Guy's house, with you in it. It's a horrible escape mission with a time limit that doesn't fuck around. After that, some generic edgelord called Blades starts pestering you, cause he's the new bad guy, I guess. And then suddenly, Cody appears, remember him? Who's now become a drug zombie because he injected himself with the T-virus from Resident Evil. Also, seems like Blades is not the new bad guy, but is instead working for the only priest Metro City has. You then kill Blades, only for the Stiff to show up again, who's now a weird monster that eats rats. See, Kyle finds a secret umbrella lab deep underground where someone is resurrecting all the defeated bosses. So you'll fight zombie monster Blades again. The porn theater guy shows back up, and they're all named after the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, because subtlety. Also, don't forget this 10 tub of fuck right here. Gross. While that shit is happening, the city is being ripped apart by all the other drug zombies, and Hagar doesn't even care anymore. He just leaves the game by this point. So it's up to Kyle to have the frustrating and tedious final fight against 2 bosses at the same time on top of a church, and it's the worst thing ever.
Well, thanks, Matt. I'll always remember you.
Great, so hey, do you need my address so you can ship my game back or something? It's really
Well, that settles it. Alright, first one to get fucked up is Final Fight Streetwise. And since it's written in a graffiti font, let's do it graffiti style. And I'll even use the game's own barf shit piss palette. And you, Final Fight Revenge, I will spare you a spray painting and instead condemn you to a long and drawn-out process of Sega Saturn disc rot. You will forever be placed in a dark corner in the nerd room where the chemicals in your plastic degrade and you slowly wither. Ugh! Ugh! Ah! Ah! I hate these games. I'd rather treat myself. Yeah, I need to calm down. Just gotta chill, just for once. 'Cause I've been angry for far too long.
Hey there, friendo! Are the day-to-day stresses of shit wearing you down? Looking to get away without leaving that food time? Well, you angry asshole. Let the vacation come to you. Explore the Caribbean, surround yourself with exotic animals, bodacious babes, without leaving the comfort of your tiny, pathetic basement. Order now! And you'll receive a highly immersive video game that will leave you feeling like you just came back from Guantanamo Bay!
Okay, well that sounds like it could be fun. Like, maybe it's like one of those virtual reality kind of games, like Total Recall or some shit.
Psst. Just call the fucking number.
Yeah, I want that. Thanks. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm so ready. I'm filled with excitement here. I mean, filled with excrement. Greendog on Genesis. Well, hey, I'm gonna play this game with a happy face. Gonna chill with the cursing, chill with the screaming. I'll be able to make it through that way, right?
Yeah, let's chill. Like that surfer beach dude, Greendog.
Surf's up, dude. Why is he called Greendog? I mean, he's not green, and he's not a dog.
And look at this beach. It's so nice. It just looks like, right out of Swamp Thing's swamp-ass butt. Oh, I like how he just sticks out from the background. I mean, doesn't even belong in the beach, but that's cool because he's just all one with nature. I mean, his head looks like a lone ball sack. Not even his face wants to be a part of this game. But that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, the backgrounds, they all look like, real-life photos painted over in Mario Paint. Yeah, I get trying to make a Sega game look realistic or doing the digitized Mortal Kombat thing, but these look really off compared to the cartoon characters in front. But that's okay. That's okay. So the game starts off with Greendog crap getting hit by a giant wave, and now this pendant is stuck around his goofy neck and can't be taken off until 6 pieces of Aztec treasure scattered around the Caribbean are put back together again, or else he can never surf again. How do I know this? Because Bambi, Greendog's Goliath girlfriend, happens to be an expert on the matter. She knows so much, why did the pendant choose her instead? I mean, just look at her and look at him. It's like they're from 2 completely different games. Alright, calm down. Right off the bat, what annoys me is the music. It's a continuous, irritating, and piercing loop. But that's fine, I can take it, it's alright. Just chill. Sounds like the soundtrack to A Weekend at Bernie's being played with trash cans and kazoos. Or not expensive kazoos, cheap ones. Oh, and I love that jump. Oh yeah. Yeah, that jump. It just makes everything you do a nightmare. It's cool. Just jump, it'll be okay. Watch out for the piranhas. So many piranhas. Oh wow, those birds make that noise. So you attack enemies by whipping frisbees at their heads, but it doesn't seem to do jack shit crap half the time. It went through that parrot 4 times. What is Greendog's problem? Whipping frisbees at parrots? What an a-hole. Sometimes you can get power-ups, like this homing frisbee, which is helpful, but of course, it's only around for a limited time, and there are barely any enemies around. Why even give it to me? You can reduce damage by eating food you find by hitting objects and enemies, and how frogs explode into french fries is beyond my culinary experience. This game is supposedly set in the islands, so why not use fruit like bananas or pineapples? Instead, it's the kids' buffet menu at Sizzlers. Hot dogs flying out of parrots, assholes, and donuts popping out of Aztec deities. It makes no sense. No sense. Oh, fudge! That jump, he jumps 5 feet in the air, but he can't jump on that fucking block! I'm clearly able to jump on that block, but maybe it's his floppy, freakish feet or the helmet hair blocking him. Whew, okay. But there's absolutely no reason I shouldn't make this jump other than the game just sucks! Okay, I'm starting to lose it here. Alright, I've made it to one of the boss fights, and it's anticlimactic as all hell. The music doesn't change, and the boss blends in with this moldy-looking graphics. Take a good game like Castlevania. When you fight Medusa, she begins as a statue, but then she emerges from it, and the music gets intense, and this came out in '86. But here, this boss looks like an infected scab vomiting piss balls and blue tapeworms at you. What are these things? They look like giant chunks of foreskin. I mean, when you step on them, they let out a cock fart. I will be honest. It's not that bad of a game. It's definitely playable. I think we've seen the worst of it already. Alright, well, I'm making it pretty far here. Okay, just... oh, the pipe got me. Stop. 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 I have to do the level over again? I can't believe they send you back that far! As you watch the screen scrolling by, you can just feel those precious minutes being stolen from you. It's the same feeling of wasted time, like if you drive all the way to the store and then realize you left your wallet at home, so you have to go back just to go forward again. Fucking sucks! Yeah, so being chill just went out the fucking window. Come on, jump. Watch the fucking parrot. Oh, you goddamn parrot. Oh, and then the meters. These are even worse. Oh, look at that. They just send you all the way back. Oh, that's the worst problem with this game. It just sends you back. Sends you back. Sends you fucking back. You go forward. You go back. You go forward and you go fucking back again. Why can't you just skate around them? Skates are an option, but the minute you touch that skateboard, you're stuck with this shit until you finish this fucked up fart fest. Of course, on the boss level, I have to continue this shit with the skateboard or rollerblades, so I'm going with the rollerblades this time. Are you kidding me? I get the skates, But because of that ridiculous jump, I ended up with the skateboard again. Well, it doesn't matter because I died. Gently this time. Okay, here we go. Oh, well, I just fucking died again. No, just jump. Ah! No. Fuck it, I'm gonna use the skateboard. Yeah. Oh! Fuck! Oh, come on, springs. In Sonic, when you're running fast and you hit a spring, you get launched forward or backwards, it's a fun dynamic to the game because sometimes you find items or even secret passages. But in this shit-stained game between the Genesis's ass crack, the pushback is all over the place. Half the screen is gone and I can't make out where I'm going half the damn time. Is that infuriating? Yes, it is. I'd have better luck controlling a car on fire with the brakes cut going 100 miles per hour straight into a manure truck, Biff Tannen style. These gyrocopter levels are a mess of shit. Okay, here we go. Oh, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff going on. Just ignore the falling parachute food. Where are they even coming from? You'll have more life avoiding them. Being swarmed to shit. You know the game is fucked when you have such a huge life bar to deal with this barrage of bullshit. What is even the point of that glove? It can only reach enemies when they're already in damage proximity of you, so you might as well just dodge everything. Now that I'm this far into the game, I need to talk about the music again. Some tracks are catchy, like this one. Wait a minute, why is that so familiar? La, 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 whatever, la, la, la. Holy shit, those thieves. And what about... Wait, that's Little Fucking Mermaid. Wait, this game came out in 92, and Little Mermaid came out before this game in 89. The game ripped off Little Mermaid! Oh, now a little history. The composer of Greendog was Paul Gadbois, whatever. He also did the music for Disney's Bonkers and Tailspin, so there's a Disney connection, kinda. This is all kinda weird, but his music isn't so bad, considering modern musicians rip him off. I mostly blame the Genesis's audio chips for Greendog sounding like shit. And that's all I'll say about that. No, let's go down the rabbit hole a little more. I found out that the Greendog character was originally from a board game called Surf Trip, which was created by real-life surfer dude Rick Green, who was the creator of that sticky Velcro football we played with as kids in the 80s. Rick Green's childhood nickname was Greendog, and the Greendog character was illustrated by Cam D. Leone, who also did the art for a couple Tool albums, Ghostbusters, and Hook. Alright, back to the game. Here's some annoying shit. The foreground keeps getting in the way. Kind of like Batman Forever on Super Nintendo. Look at that. I mean, get out of the way. I'm trying to play a game here. On to the final level. You finally get to use the rollerblades. And to be honest, it sucks ass. It's a lot of guessing and constant hit damage to get through. And even when you do make it, it's nothing extraordinary. No mega boss fight, just some gangly asshole X-gaming his way to the end with a fucking stupid ass bird hovering over you every second. Happy birthday! Fuck you! So Greendog shit gets all the pieces together and can finally surf again. Yippee fucking skippy. Now, I don't have to play this shitload of fuck anymore. He looks so dumb surfing in the sky like a knockoff version of Silver Surfer. This game alludes to a sequel. Well, thank the gods of game development, or just shitty sales, because that sequel never saw the light of fucking day. And what the shit is this thank you for playing Greendog? Was this all a game to Greendog, or is the game thanking me for wasting my time playing? If so, it better thank me for even looking at this garbage cartridge.
Fuck this plastic piece of shit. Watching dry dingleberries hanging off your cat's asshole is more entertaining than this concoction of cock. I'd rather have a narwhal ram its horn up my cornhole than ram this shit in my console. I'd rather have an elephant kickflip off my face than shit on me. Fuck you, Greendog. Time for you to go on a Caribbean vacation. I'm gonna drop this game in real lava. Yes, actual lava. To the Nerdcopter. Yeah! That's real lava, motherfucker! Burn, baby, burn!